to say to yourself, I Hello everyone, how are you doing on this Tuesday afternoon? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of Tinfoil Tuesday. Make sure you get your bingo cards ready as we of course are playing Conspiracy Bingo as we always do on this glorious day of days. Thank you Pseudosapien for subscribing with Prime, 3-month streak. Subs, Webster7765 with 50 bits. I needed this today. Thank you, Hannah. It's spooky time. Yeah, it's Spooktober, so we're going to be peppering in some ghosts and cryptid stuff into this episode. It's not the entirety of what we'll be doing, though the week of October, that will probably be the theme of the week. We'll probably just do, like, cryptids and stuff, but I want to pepper this stuff in because it's October. Is Lupine comfortable being on camera? Could use a kitty right now. If she comes in here, I'll bring her up on the desk, but she doesn't like to stay up on the desk very long. I think she ends up feeling trapped because I have so much stuff around with the microphone and my body and, Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Hannah, could you give me some tips on streaming? I really have no idea what I'm doing aside from knowing that I'm going to do gaming advice. Could you be more specific? Because that's a very broad question. Like, do you mean in terms of actually setting up things like Streamlabs, or do you mean in terms of, like, content? Like something more specific would help. But I'd be happy to answer the question for you. You have something for me? Pier Squire says. Bigfoot Festival bringing Sasquatch enthusiasts to Marion. Okay, we can watch that. I had this pulled up, but this is not a Tinfoil Tuesday thing. This is that's preparing for Chud Watch. This weird thing is happening where Daddy Sume, both, any, just tips and suggestions. Spooky stuff made your life easier. Oh, stuff that made your life easier. The line below that in my Streamlabs is spooky, and I put it in there for some reason. In terms of, oh boy, Streamlabs, honestly, this is gonna sound shilly, but this is not an ad or anything. I got the Streamlabs Premium where you can get, like, themes and stuff, like all this animated everything where it looks like, ooh, it's like a real stream with, like, moving stuff. This all came with, like, Streamlabs Premium. They just have a whole, like, section where you can get different, you know, graphics and themes and all sorts of stuff. And I think that helps give an air of legitimacy to what you're doing. I think the presentation does matter. If you go back and watch my first, like, 2 or 3 streams, they look like shit. Because I just put, you know, it didn't look very good. But, you know, your mileage is going to vary. Do what you want to do. If you can find other stuff for free online, you can also do that. I'm not great at Streamlabs, so you'd probably have to get, you know, some other people who are better at it to explain the intricacies. But it's pretty intuitive. In terms of content, oh boy, make sure you're interacting with chat. I think that's important. Even I fail to do that sometimes, but I like to think that I try and, you know, make sure that you're, you know, a part of the conversation and have things to say. I know that's not very helpful advice, but it helps to be able to be someone who can open their mouth and words will come out, even if you don't know where the sentence is going to end when you start it.
There's nothing funny about
really good with paying attention to chat? I try. There's this thing that's been going on, though. Like, I usually, what I do is I start the video, and then I'll bring up Streamlabs, and what I'm seeing on screen is Streamlabs, and through Streamlabs I'm watching YouTube, but I'm also watching the chat, which is, for me, over here. And today I turn on Streamlabs, and when I bring up Streamlabs over YouTube, it turns the YouTube screen off, which I think is just a new thing on YouTube. I think if it's not the frontmost thing, I think they're not showing video, probably to save on bandwidth for themselves. So I can't do that anymore, which is going to be a pain. So I'm going to have to, like, pay more attention to chat here. Either way, yeah, just make sure you're keeping up with chat as much as possible. You don't have to read every, you know, comment someone has, but if they have something interesting to say, you know, read it or comment on it. Stellar Sea Cow, thank you for subscribing. 3-month streak, 3-month anniversary. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the streams. Is there anything else that I missed? Fun fact, Nevada is finally rewriting its constitution to recognize all marriage as equal under the law. That's good. Interacting with chat is primarily going to be a thing for me. You need people to bounce off of. I get that. I need something to react to. It's why I do reaction content. Because, like, if I just opened this and didn't have this thing over here where there's stuff going on for me to talk about or read or whatever, I'd be like, hello, welcome to the stream. Today I'm going to talk about things and stuff. Aren't those things great? Isn't that stuff bad? Hooray! End of stream. And it would be very, very boring for everyone involved. Oh, good news, by the way. Good news. For me. I guess it doesn't really matter to you guys, but I think many of you will be happy for me, because I think you know. Saturday, I'm having my first appointment with the electrolysis person to get the hairs on my face, and we're gonna use chemicals or whatever, and we're gonna kill this disgusting hair on my face. That'll take a while, but at least the process will be started, so that's nice. My facial hair and stuff is one of the things that make me, like, the most dysphoric. I hate that stuff. Like, I can deal... I try and, you know, make my voice a little bit, you know, higher, but I get that I don't have a voice that comes off as particularly feminine. But, like, I can live with that. The facial hair gets to me. Don't know why. That specifically is just a killer for me. It is so bad. Chemicals that turn the frickin' frogs gay. I don't think there's any frogs living in my face, so I think it's okay. You wish there was Nair for your face? Yeah, that would probably burn a lot. I've used Nair before. Like on legs and stuff. That's some magical stuff, but it smells bad. You did a good job of talking about something that interests you when you talked about Sonichu. Still, I'm reacting to something. I have a thing, and I'm like, oh, let me talk about this thing that I have. It's basically show and tell, you know? Speaking of which, I've been reading these Back to the Future comics by IDW, and they're pretty entertaining. I'm not going to pretend they're the best written things in the world, but they're fun little, they explain how Doc and Marty met, and a bunch of other stuff, so it's fun. Oh no, there's a rip in one of the pages, though. That sucks. Anyway. I guess we should get to some conspiracies. You think I have a quite neutral voice, at least? It's gotten more feminine at times? Well, that's good. That's good. Thank you. Face frogs. Yeah. That's a problem. I think I'd rather have frogs in my face than hair follicles, honestly. So yeah, get your bingo cards ready. Remember the rules of Tinfoil Tuesday Bingo. If you get a bingo, remember there is that free space in the center, but if you get a bingo, it's the rules of normal bingo, then you can get a free gift sub from me. If you already are subscribed, as you should be, because this is one of the most fantastic streams on the site. But if you already have one, I'll just write your name down on my master list, and when it comes due, just let me know, and I will gift you your sub then. Or you can gift it to someone else if you'd prefer that. But I don't expect you to, you know, be magnanimous and gift the thing you won to someone else, but people have done that before, so that is an option. If no one wins Tinfoil Tuesday Bingo, I will just randomly gift one at the end of the stream. That's how it works. So someone wins either way. Do 4 corners count? No, we do not do 4 corners. But the other ones, like horizontal, diagonal, or vertical, but not 4 corners. Thank you for asking. I guess no one's asked that before, but yeah. Because we normally get quite a few of these, you know. I feel like 4 corners is something you do if you're like, I don't know, in elementary school and you don't have very many people getting stuff. PixelPunk16, thank you for following. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, I have that page queued up. Yeah, let's do this so I can go shower. I did some time on the bike earlier, and I would like to take a shower. I should have planned it better so I could have biked and then showered before stream, but whatever. The tinfoil tends to make me sweaty anyway, so if we get a hype train and I end up, you know, wearing more tinfoil. How much are you down now? Still like 30 pounds. I've kind of stalled, which is why I'm trying to do the bike and stuff more. But yeah, my goal is to be in the 230s by Thanksgiving, which I think I could do, so that'll be good. Man, I'm so sick of being in the 200s. I am so sick of it. My previous high was like 204 or something, and then I just got into like a depression spiral, like prior to coming out and stuff. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, not to make excuses for myself. I mean, you know, it's still my fault for overeating, but I didn't cope well, and I was eating a lot, and it got me up to like 270. It was so bad. I can't believe I got that close to 300, but I'm working on it. I'm down 30. I can do the rest. I've done it before. Hopefully I won't have to do it again after this one. But anyway, let's get to the actual stuff, shall we? Starting hormones definitely changes your body too. True. That is true. Let me just pull up the chat on my phone. So let's take a look at what we got, okay? We have this, we can just watch this Bigfoot thing first, probably, because it's not, you know, that long.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
Degenerate feminist with 100 bits. As someone who is also on a weight loss journey, seeing you was really encouraging. I'm glad. I'm glad. Let's see. Hans Wormhat. This is the title of this stream. I'm so excited about it. Hans has done another video on fake koalas and how koala bears are not real. Koala's not real. Did you know that? Did you know koala's not real? It's true. Hans said it. Who's Hans? Hans Wormhat. Hans Wormhat is the most insane conspiracy theorist on the planet. Hans believes that koala bears are not real. He believes that penguins aren't real. He believes gorillas aren't real. He thinks World War II didn't happen. He's nuts. He's fantastic. He's a beautiful, beautiful boy, and I love him. I like him so much we have a Hans Wormhat emote. Yeah. I don't think I have any other creator-specific emotes other than Hans Wormhat. Okay, we also have Elizabeth April, the woman who believes she is an envoy to the Galactic Federation, talking about how Jesus was apparently an alien, which is good to know, you know? Daddy Sume, what the F would be the point? Why would it... I'm done. It's all part of the cabal. You gotta understand, Daddy Sume. They lie to us about the koalas for reasons, and that's reason enough. I have one of these lost tapes episodes. We can decide as a group which one we watch, but we watched one of these a couple weeks ago on the vampire. And no, me saying vampire right there does not count towards the bingo. It only the bingo, if it says, like Hannah says something, then it's when I say it. But otherwise, it has to be said in the video for clarification. We have Nathan Thompson peeping the Gleason and claiming that USA Today fact-checks Flat Earth Group and says this is true, which is true about Operation Paperclip. But Operation Paperclip existing does not mean the Earth is flat, believe it or not. Yeah, if you need the bingo card at any point, just do the command bingo, which is !bingo with no space. We have ghost videos that we can take a look at. We have a call for an uprising saying, warning, be aware and be careful starting October 13th. And oh boy, look at my imaginary invisible watch. Today's the 13th, so we better see what we should be looking out for. We have Level Earth Observer trying to debunk Simon Dan's debunk of their stupid flat Earth thing. That'll be fun. This is just my YouTube channel, which, by the way, you should totes subscribe to. I'm trying to get more subscribers. I'm trying to get more subscribers than Hans Wormhat. I'm way on the way to doing it. I'm at 2.37 thousand subscribers. So subscribe. It's where all my past streams and stream highlights go. And everything's... I spent a lot of time, and I hope you guys, you know, appreciate... I'm not being like, I hope you appreciate what I do. I just, like, genuinely, I hope you appreciate it, because I do take time to do it, and I organize all the clips by topic. So if you want Flat Earth videos, you got Flat Earth videos. If you want me dunking on chuds, you got that. If you want general conspiracy theories, you got that. It's all organized, so it's easy to find what kind of videos you want to watch that day. If the Bigfoot video doesn't mention it, the whole thing started with a Bigfoot furry. I shit you not. That's how most things start, with a person in a fursuit True. Call for an uprising equals QAnon? Probably. They usually bring up QAnon, so that'll probably come up when we watch the Call for an Uprising video. If not directly by name, tangentially, but we'll see.
There's nothing funny about
that's just something I had pulled up for the Nathan Thompson video. This is just an article on the Operation Paperclip. This is the bingo, and here's the Bigfoot thing. Bardlock Moses with 100 bits will sub after the stream. Oh, nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, I don't know. Let's start with something simple. We'll do this quick and easy Bigfoot video. You guys will be able to see when I pull up my Streamlabs because it blocks out the YouTube thing for some reason. That's when I need to look at myself because I'm self-conscious and I need to see what you guys are seeing.
Listen to this. Western North Carolina's first ever Bigfoot Festival is this Saturday. Bigfoot believers and vendors will come together in downtown Marion for a whole lot of fun. 7 News' Jennifer Martin has a preview.
We have the Carolina howl here that we use to call the Bigfoot, and this is an example of it.
John Bruner has been a believer of the legendary Sasquatch creature since he was a boy.
Bigfoot is anywhere from 6.5 to 9 feet tall, anywhere from 400 to 700 pounds, covered with hair. They're very good at camouflage.
He says,
wait, did you just say anywhere from 400 to 700 pounds? I'm assuming he means they're like 4 pounds when they're born. But that's like really, really tiny for like, even for like a human baby, 4 pounds would be really, really low. How are these Bigfoot babies, which should be bigger than human babies, because Bigfoots are bigger than humans in general. Let's assume they have a similar gestation period. Maybe it's a little longer. Nonetheless, the baby shouldn't be 4 pounds. Where's the Bigfoot NICU where you can go and like see the little Bigfoot baby in like one of those dome things to where they do stuff to keep them safe until they're like a weight that's reasonable?
just last year he
Probably 400 to 700. You're probably right. My comedy bit means nothing.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you, Stellar Sea Cow. 10 bits.
He had a Bigfoot encounter at Lake James in Marion.
This is a rock that I was struck with. Bigfoot threw this rock.
Stellar Sea Cow, you don't know my life. Don't assume I'm smaller than a Bigfoot. I wish I had a rock that I could put in a little shadow box I got at Michael's. How did that work? Walk into Michael's and they go, "Oh, sir, can I help you with anything?" "Yeah, I need a shadow box about yay big. I need to put a rock in it that Bigfoot threw at me." Aisle 4, sir. Thank you.
Throw rocks. That's one of the things they do.
As the creator of the Bigfoot 911 Facebook page, he decided it was time for a Bigfoot festival in Marion.
I think it's important that we share information.
On Saturday, vendors from over 39 states will be set up downtown.
I have 5 of the best Bigfooters in North Carolina that's going to be here.
How do you decide that? How do you decide the best Bigfooters when no one's caught Bigfoot? It would be like determining who the best long-distance runner was, but no one's ever won a race before. No one's finished. My chat's not updating for some reason on my phone. Give me a second so I can fix this. Thank you, Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Speaking of babies, I'm now an uncle and I feel absolutely nothing. I feel nothing for this child, and I feel like shit because of it. My sister is a huge a-hole and self-centered, egotistical a-hole, but the child has nothing to do with that, but I don't know. I feel nothing for this kid. All I can say is, yep, that's a baby, certainly an infant. I'd go back to that, The Office episode where Michael is trying to feel something for, Jan's baby. And they're like, well, yeah, it's not your baby. Like, it's... especially because it's a baby. I feel like you'll probably care more when they're, like, a human being. Which is how I'm gonna word this. With, like, discernible thoughts. I don't know. I don't think you have to love a baby that's not yours at the get-go. I think you'll probably learn to love the kid as they grow and develop a personality. But, I don't know. I don't think you should feel bad, though.
They're going to have their evidence set up.
There will also be memorabilia for sale, a scavenger hunt, a 5K run, food, live music, and Bigfoot calling contests.
Downtown businesses are getting involved too with Bigfoot murals, food specials, and products related to Sasquatch.
I am on a diet, but I'm just counting calories. I do have the calories for this today, by the way. I don't want you to think I'm cheating or anything. You guys know they make Hershey's Reese's now? They're Hershey bars with Reese's Pieces in them. It's bonkers.
The McDowell Chamber of Commerce says it hopes to make it an annual event.
Be a lot to see and do, and pique your curiosity a little bit. Who knows, you might leave here as a believer.
In Marion, Jennifer Martin, 7 News.
Well, what do you think about that?
I say, you know what? I want to say goodbye to Bigfoot. Who wants to call Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what we were talking about.
Well, I don't think we've really come to the conclusion if he's a nice Bigfoot or a not so nice Bigfoot. So you're right. Why would you want to call him and
exactly.
find out the bad
They
way?
seem to think he's a nice Bigfoot. I mean,
I guess
if they're
so.
calling him, that's what they're thinking.
7 to 9 foot tall monster. Come on over.
Yeah, I don't want to. No, thank you.
I don't really see harm in that. I think it's funny. You know, a bunch of people are going to come and hang out and probably have some cookouts and have some fun. Probably walking through the woods, pretending to look for Bigfoot. They don't know they're pretending, but they are. I don't think that included anything that's on the bingo card. No. Okay. Let's do Hans's new video. Hans has a brand spanking new video on how koala bears are CGI. They're not. Koala bears are little marsupials that live in Australia. They eat eucalyptus. They're very stupid. They feed their young with what's known as fecal pap. If you don't know about that, they basically feed sort of poop to their young because the young are too stupid to know how to eat real food. Koala bears are so stupid that if you take a eucalyptus leaf, which is the only thing they eat, and put it on a plate or take it off the tree, they don't know to eat it. Koala bears are very, very stupid. It's creamy diarrhea. Okay. So anyway, koala bears. A lot of koala bears have chlamydia. I did know that. Why do I know that? Why do I know a bunch of gross things about koala bears? Either way, here we are. Let's take a look at Hans's new video on koalas.
Hans Wormhat. In this video, I'm going to take a look at a modern, very high quality, heavily produced footage of a koala, and I will show you that it's nothing but CGI. But first, I just want to briefly talk about why I love this topic so much, and it's a hard one for people to accept.
Because in order to say that koala bears were fake, Hans, you have such a high bar to reach in terms of evidence. Like, you would need to literally show random koala bears. You'd have to go up to them and, like, rip them open and show that they're fake. Hans, you've never even been in the same room as a koala. Why do you think you're qualified by looking at a video to say this is CGI, or this is a robot, or this is whatever? They're real, Hans. They're real. Go to a zoo that has a koala bear, please.
Even when it's right in front of their face.
Koalified. I like me a pun.
You can go look at the Australian wildfire photos, how they have dozens and dozens of stories about these stuffed animals, and the images that they use are so over-the-top, obvious fake images that you should just start there, I guess, if you don't believe that people would fake this kind of thing.
Why would they? Hans never, I think, appropriately explains what the end game in the koala, any of the zoological conspiracy he believes. He believes penguins aren't real. He believes toucans aren't real. He believes orangutans aren't real. He believes zebras aren't real. He does believe giraffes are real, but he thinks they're the result of genetic manipulation. I don't understand I don't understand Hans. And my goal in life, this is my Rick Sanchez Szechuan sauce goal at the end of my character arc, okay? My character arc is understanding Hans Wormhat. And if I die not understanding Hans, then I have failed at life. And frankly, I think I'm doomed. I think I'm doomed. I don't think it's possible for me to figure this out. And it makes me sad.
But today, I'm going to look at a very high-quality CGI film. But anyways, I love this topic because it shows you just the insane level that these people go to lie about everyday things and how they want you believing in fantasy and how we already live in Fantasyland. And the koala is another obvious one that's pushed on children. Just anything that gets heavily pushed on children is highly suspicious.
Trying to teach me how to tie my shoes and pee in a toilet? Seems sus.
Because they're just brainwashing you. The only reason people believe in koalas is because they've...
You joke when you say, like, the alphabet, but honestly, Hans would probably say, have you seen how they teach kids the alphabet? K is in koala. It's part of the indoctrination.
Seen a million depictions of koalas in cartoons, and just
there aren't that many koalas in cartoons.
Stuff.
Let's see. I'm sure there are a few, but there aren't a ton. Koala cartoon characters, like in my gym partner's a monkey. That was a show on Cartoon Network. They probably had a koala character. Koala cartoon list of fictional marsupials. Wikipedia coming through again. We have in literature Ginger Kangaroo, Kidding Kangaroo, Old Man Kangaroo, Roo and his mother Kanga from Winnie the Pooh, Red Kangaroo, Sour Kangaroo, Blinky Bill, the Muddle-Headed Wombat. Ooh, we got a wombat! Penelope, who is a koala. Oh, some of these are koalas. Sorry. I wasn't looking at the species thing next to it. This is what the Cabal wants for our children, says Daddy Sume.
Just as I thought.
Yeah, the look who's talking thing. I can't play this. I can't play movie clips. I'm a broken record on this one, guys. I cannot play movie clips. It'll demonetize my video. So let's see. We have Aussie. These are comics. Aussie, Bruce, Cupcake, Caddy, Teddy Q. So we have that many, which are like 3 or 4, and then we only have 1, 2 in literature that I could find on this article at least. Film, television, and radio. Flair Dinkon from Dumbo's Circus, which is not a show that I'm familiar with. In animation, we have quite a few. Although a lot of these are going to be kangaroos, but we do have some koalas. These are all kangaroos. Red kangaroo, red kangaroo, red kangaroo. Here's some koalas. Adventures of the Little Koala. Buster Moon from Sing. Frank and Buster from the Koala Brothers. Constance Koala from Tasmania. Oh, Tasmania. 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 Yeah. Quickie Koala from Hanna-Barbera's Quickie Koala Show. We have Koala Balloon from the Wild Kratts of Zaboomafoo fame. We have from the Penguins of Madagascar. We have Reginald on American Dad. We have Johnny on the Outback. Nigel from the Wild. Pinky and Blinky rather has one on the show Noodles or something. You get it. We got some koalas, but in the scope of like all television and media, this isn't that many koala characters. You have a lot more monkey characters. Yeah, you probably have some horse characters. I don't know how many different like species characters there are, but koalas aren't that popular, right? They exist in media, but they're not like the biggest thing that you see. You see a lot of cats. You see a lot of monkeys.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
What do we have so far? I don't think we have any so far.
It reminds me of dinosaurs, outer space land, fake ancient Egypt. They have to brainwash children with this stuff. And I'm going to just tell my childhood story here, because I'll never tire of telling this story. At the local zoo, when I grew up, they allegedly had a koala, and it was kept in this tiny little closet. And I remember as a child, that thing never moved, not once. It was just a stuffed animal put up there, and they tell you all sorts of stories, all sorts of fantastical stories. This is not, it's mythological. Think of like a squirrel, and how many interesting, crazy facts you can come up with for a squirrel. You can't really, because a squirrel makes sense, and the things about a squirrel are squirrel-like, and they make sense, and...
Brilliant. Squirrels aren't weird because they're like squirrels, and everything about a squirrel is squirrel-like, and it makes sense. This argument, if you wrote it out, would literally be in a circle. The Shadow Witch, thank you for gifting a sub. Appreciate it.
As a biological entity, it's, you might say boring, but not really. It's just that it makes sense as what it is. So we don't have a million interesting facts about squirrels. All their fake animals, though, you could write novels about all the interesting facts. They are taking the piss with a lot of this stuff.
I can find out facts about squirrels if you want. Squirrel facts. Oops. 10 nutty facts to make you appreciate squirrels. Squirrels can find food buried underneath a foot of snow. A squirrel's front teeth never stop growing. Squirrels may lose 25% of their buried food to thieves. They zigzag to escape predators. Squirrels may pretend to bury a nut to throw off potential thieves. A newborn squirrel is about an inch long. Humans introduced squirrels to most of our major city parks. Squirrels are acrobatic, intelligent, and adaptable. They get bulky to stay warm during the winter. Squirrels don't dig up all their buried nuts, which results in more trees. Let's see if we can... Ooh, here's 20 fun facts about the squirrel. Tucker White 94, I feel like an actual koala would have more charisma than this guy. That's probably true. I think koalas are also, on the whole, a little bit smarter than Hans. In Greek, the word squirrel means shadow tail. The most iconic behavior of squirrels is storing nuts and acorns for winter, which is necessary for the species of squirrel that don't hibernate. The hind legs of squirrels are double jointed, which gives them the ability to run up and down trees very quickly. A male squirrel can actually smell a female in heat from up to a mile away. Mating season for squirrels is from February to May with a 44-day gestation period. Generally 2 to 4 young are born per litter. Squirrels have 4 toes on their front feet, which are extremely sharp and used for gripping tree bark whilst climbing. They also have 5 toes on their back feet. In addition to resisting the eastern U.S., or residing in the eastern U.S. rather, you get it. You can find facts about squirrels, Hans. And they're not any crazier than the facts about koalas. Koalas are funny in that they do gross stuff like the fecal pap thing. But again, if you were trying to make a fictional animal, why would you make it ridiculous? That wouldn't make any sense. Tucker White 94, why is the Latin names for animals are often better than what we call them now? Because Latin's cool. Stone Corbell. 20 bits. Someone needs to take Hans on a world vacation because I think he just lacks the capacity to understand things outside of the things he has personally experienced. He only thinks squirrels are normal because they exist where he lives. Oh, that's absolutely the problem. He is so, like, single-minded and unable to understand, like, his own perspective and the limits of it that he sees squirrels and goes, squirrels are normal. Of course they are. I see them every day. Not realizing that there are places where people don't see squirrels every day, so it's not normal to them, and not recognizing that there are people in other parts of the world where koalas are very normal to see. Like, he is borderline solipsistic in his worldview. The Stellar Sea Cow. We used to have a squirrel without a tail that used to sit on my grandpa's foot when he would grill. It's a very specific thing that happened.
Do you know what I'm talking about with the koala? How many things about koalas there are? And then we get the over-the-top things like drop bears. Okay,
that's a meme, Hans. It's a joke. It's a joke. That's a joke about them.
It's all a joke about how koalas are mythological in nature. They aren't real.
No, it's a joke about... It's like, look at a koala. It's a koala. It looks like a little bear, but it's gonna fall on you. Drop bear. That's the joke.
Sleep for 23 hours. They eat poison. They
eat what is poisonous to others. Okay? It's poisonous to most things. However, koalas have adapted to not be poisoned by them.
There's all sorts of things that they tell us about the koalas. They have the smallest brain. It's like a smooth brain. And I think that they're making fun of people. You're smooth-brained if you don't catch on to the joke that koalas are not real.
No. Nope, that's not what it is. Koalas just have smooth brains. I can Google one.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Daddy, assuming with 10 bits, you know what else is poisonous to most things? Caffeine, and we drink it for fun. True. Koala... brain... This is a koala brain. It doesn't have the wrinkles. They're real. Like, Hans, I don't know what to tell ya. I really don't. I'm never gonna reach him, so why even try?
Now, let's get into it. That's my overview. Baby koalas are called joeys. Look here, they love talking about this. A koala joey is the size of a jelly bean. Jelly beans is 33 in Pythagorean, and also koala joeys is...
Tucker White 94, silly Hannah. Everyone knows evolution is a myth. Didn't you pay attention in church? Dr. Gamble, thank you for subscribing. Ah, yes, koalas, the Australian unicorn.
It's 33 in Pythagorean.
Chaldean gematria. What is that? Oh, it's the name of the thing. Gotcha. It's the numerology thing he's using. By the way, numerology used as numerology used as evidence. If you have that, mark that off.
About the tools of capitalism.
Antipodian squid. Practically all baby marsupials are called joeys, Hans, and they're tiny. It's why they go into a pouch. Yep. And this is numerology as evidence. Count it, Hannah. True.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Do I have it somewhere? I don't think I have it.
Let's start the video. I'll probably pause it and just tell you about the things that I think, and then I took some still frames too.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
But notice how frequently the camera cuts, the cinematic cuts, the watch, the prominence of the watch. That is really awkward to me because, so I'm just going to start it over, because the way that this person picks up the koala is so awkward. And in Hollywood, they show us what they do. This person is probably interacting with, I think they use like the color blue for this type of thing most often. Like a blue...
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. You better make me a VIP, Hannah. If you make me a VIP, I will never rickroll you again. I'll consider it.
Fake stuffed animal. And then they...
Hans, why are you saying blue now? You used to say it was always orange. Now it's blue? If you just say every color has some secret meaning, then you can always point something out because everything is a color.
come in and they CGI in the koala later. And they have all sorts of movies.
Why? Why would they do this, Hans? What would the purpose be? Like, I say this about Flat Earth, and this is even worse than Flat Earth in this regard. To what end? To what end?
Out there, Life of Pi is a perfect example of they CGI in a tiger.
Yeah, because that was a movie. Because that was a movie, and that was a tiger. Like, your average person, I mean, your average person probably shouldn't be interacting with a koala either for the safety of the koala. But, like, and also you don't want to catch chlamydia from a koala. I don't know how that would work, but outside of, you know, doing very disgusting things. But, I don't know. touch the koala somewhere and you get the chlamydia. I don't know how chlamydia works. Anyway, yeah, Hans, in Life of Pi, they have a tiger that's like CG or something. I haven't seen Life of Pi, but like that's a movie and that's a tiger. That's why.
Next to a human actor. That's all this is. This is an actor. And it is an actor.
No, that's probably a zookeeper.
If you know what I mean.
Ah, you're doing the transphobia thing where you think everyone is secretly trans. Gotcha.
So awkward. And the lighting is so off. The koala
It's not. It's just outside in like a zoo habitat or something.
is very sharp. This was another super awkward. That looks very awkward. But like I said, very high quality. Right? It looks like something out of Hollywood with professionals working on this. All the cinematic cuts.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
I'll just pause here to say, though, what a lively...
Does transphobia fall under the umbrella of the gay agenda? No. No, it does not. Not unless he specifically says something along the lines of, like, trans people are planning on doing this or that or whatever. That would count. But just mentioning, you know, some transphobic thing is not the gay agenda.
Koala. Usually the koalas don't do anything. They're sitting up in a tree motionless because it's not...
Right, because their primary, like, source of energy is eucalyptus leaves, which they get very little out of, so they don't have the energy to be moving around all the time.
Nothing but an animatronic placed up in a tree.
Wait, is it CG or is it animatronic, Hans? Which is it? Because you know those are two different things, right?
And they have these mobile animatronics. You can pay a fee at certain zoos and get to hold a koala and play with the koala. Go watch those videos.
I don't think they should do that. This is completely separate from Hans's argument, but I get, like, severe Tiger King vibes from that. That can't be good for the koalas to have a bunch of strangers come and handle them all the time. That's probably stressful. That's not cool.
There's nothing funny about the tools
Dr.
of
Gamble with 100
capitalism.
bits. I post that SpongeBob bit where Bob says actors with a realistic mouth, but it is Tinfoil Tuesday, so here's 100 bits. Thank you.
It looks like a really heavy, awkward animatronic that is...
Or it's
There's
an
nothing funny
animal.
about the tools of
How about that?
capitalism.
It looks like an animal that a zookeeper is handling.
just clings to people.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Do you have any idea how heavy that would be? No one would ever fall for that. True.
But it's not interacting like this. This is 100% CGI koala.
No,
funny
it's
about the
not.
tools of
Hans, if this were a CGI koala, it would be the best CGI ever done in the history of CGI. Everything reacts naturally. She's tactilely, like, feeling this thing. You can see the hair move as she moves her hand across its fur. Like, this is not how CGI looks in 2020. CGI,
There's nothing
animatronic, dude
funny
spanking
about the
dude
tools
says
of
with a link.
capitalism.
¿Por qué no los dos?
And then Mr. X8 with 100 bits. If I see it on video, it's
nothing funny
CGI.
about
If I
tools
can
of
see it in
capitalism.
real life, it's animatronic. Yeah, he's covering his bases. And then Tucker White 94 with 10 bits. So because I never saw Harambe, blessed be his name, before he was killed, then by Hans's logic, he never existed. Jake must never find this out. Harambe was just a gorilla. I wonder how the koala feels
They don't
about
let you do
being,
that.
like, cuddled like that. I wonder if they're fine with it. Because even if they weren't, would they even have the energy to be like, ah...
That with the one at the zoo. Okay, what do you think about that? Now, what I'm going to show you here is... Okay, already, look at that hand. Look how awkward the hand on the left looks. And look at the hand on the right. It's doing a hand sign. It's doing a 666 hand sign. But, more importantly...
The gorilla is doing a 666 hand sign? Ah! Spurious symbology is evidence. Click.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Antipodian squid. They're usually fine with it, especially if born in captivity. Generally, they're too high to care too much. Does the eucalyptus make them high? Because their body's dealing with the toxicity? That'd make a lot of sense.
Just look at how awkwardly the left hand will hover above the actor's hand, and it's like a layer in Photoshop or something. You can just tell. Your eyes can tell when something's not real life. And I think that this is really obvious. I slowed it down.
Tucker White 94. I'm guessing the koala is thinking, excellent, rub my belly, human slave. I think that's a high concept thought for a dumb koala. I'm not like insulting koalas. They're just they're not intelligent animals. They're very, very stupid. I guess that's always relative, but like they're not the brightest.
Really slow. I thought that this was super obvious. And that hand sign on the right is 666.
No, it's not!
Nothing funny about the tools of
Hans, you are so deep down the rabbit hole, or up the koala tree, if you'd rather, that you're like interpreting hand shapes of animals. This is psychotic behavior. Stellar Sea Cow. Koalas are part of the leftist agenda. After all, they're getting high and having unprotected sex. True.
Okay, let's play that again. Just look at... Do you see what I mean about that left hand floating like a layer in Photoshop over the hand?
No, it's not. It's just holding its hand.
There's nothing funny about
I'm gonna play it
the tools of capitalism.
a few more times.
What are you talking about? It's just holding its hand, and the other hand is just resting on the wrist of the zookeeper. It looks like a hand. You're seeing things, Hans. You're seeing things that aren't there. Antipodian squid with 10 beds. Because eucalyptus is so low nutrient, they have to eat a lot of it, and I mean a lot, especially in comparison to their body weight. So yeah, basically they're always high off the toxin. Interesting.
See what I mean about the left koala hand? Just looks like a layer in Photoshop. It doesn't look like real life.
Nope, that looks like a hand in real life. Ooh, koala hands are weird. They got like, it almost looks like a separation between like these two and these two.
Okay, and I'm going to end by just looking at some still frames. So yeah, look at that.
There's nothing funny about the tools
It looks
of
like a
capitalism.
koala resting their hand on the wrist of a zookeeper. Stephen J. Neptune Man with 10 bits. So how does he explain dead koala bears, or koala bear skeletons, or koala bears giving birth? I think he just thinks it's all fake.
About the tools of capitalism.
Does he think koalas aren't real? Yeah, he thinks koalas are fake. Dr. Gamble with 20 bits. With all his suspension towards animals, or suspicion towards animals, I keep thinking back to the movie Chicken Run. Hans is like Mr. Tweety. Those chickens are up to something. They're organized. I know it. Tucker White 94 with 10 bits. As someone who's seen enough films to spot CGI, especially bad CGI, that's not a CGI koala. That's a real one. Yeah, I think even a layman like myself can look at that and be like, that doesn't look like CGI. It would be like the best CGI ever if it was. And they'd be having to produce it consistently because there's tons of koala videos on the internet from different zoos and different wildlife reserve places. It's hovering because there's a watch. Do you not see the watch, you idiot? Yeah, and it's also kind of like resting at an angle anyway, like on the wrist, but... Tumek von Ravens, koala is actually doing okay sign. The koala is obviously alt-right.
They made sure to get the koala doing a 666 hand sign. If you go look at images of koalas online, usually their hands are just totally flat and not gripping anything. They have these strange pancake hands. It'll be like a flat pancake hand on top of a tree or something. But this is high quality CGI.
It's probably because they're holding on to the tree. It looks flat because they're gripping it.
Probably have a 3D model and have the ability to move the fingers and things. I guess I'll talk now about... There's a really... If this high quality CGI is hard for you to spot with your eyes, there's this viral koala video out there of koalas fighting and they're like in front of a tree or something. That one is so obviously CGI.
Let's see if we can... Koalas fighting over tree? Probably that. Koala gets kicked out of tree and cries. I'm assuming this is what Hans is talking. Let me turn this down because that noise is disturbing. So here you have koalas fighting over a tree. Hans, if this is what you're talking about, this doesn't look CG at all. This looks like two animals fighting each other. Dudes spanking dudes. Okay, I gotta say this. Even if people like this think the Earth is flat and such, why do they care that the rest of the world thinks it's round or that gorillas exist? There's nothing satanic about that. Why do they think that? I can understand the frustration. Like, if you thought that you had the truth and 99% of the world was thinking something that was untrue, it frustrates you, right? Like, let me give you an example. I'm not trying to be fedora-tipping atheist here. Like, if you're religious, that's fine. I don't care. That's your business. But, like, especially when I was younger as an atheist, it frustrated me to no end thinking about how most people in the world are religious. Like, it just felt unintuitive to me. It felt like a ridiculous belief, and it made me mad. And that's why I think you see a lot of young atheists who are, like, mad, and they get really, really inappropriate when talking about, like, religion with other people, especially unprompted. It's fine to have these discussions in, like, debates or with people who are willing to have these discussions, but often it'll almost get vindictive from the side of the young atheist. And it comes from a place of thinking, like, you see an answer that is so obvious and everyone else is, like, turning a blind eye to it, and it gets frustrating. And I feel like Hans and people like that, Nathan Thompson, all these conspiracy theorists, probably feel the same way. I don't happen to think they're right, but they think they're right. They think they know they're right. And as far as they're concerned, everyone else in the world is turning their eye away from, like, some obvious answer, and that would probably be pretty frustrating for them. Oh. I feel bad for this koala. Alright, go get a different tree. I don't know why I find this funny. I do, though. It's just, like, weirdly relatable.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Ducker White 94. A lot go to frustrations with religion. A lot go my frustrations with religion as a teen atheist was that people believe stories in the Bible even though they had plot holes that you could fly a 747 through. You know. It mostly annoyed me, and again, I've cooled a lot as I've gotten older, because, like, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, convince people otherwise, so why bother most of the time, unless, again, you're having a discussion with someone who's open to it, whatever. It just annoyed me how many people, like, are like, the Bible is 100% the Word of God, I believe it all, and they never read the Bible. Which is probably where partially the Bible Reloaded came from, you know, the original show that I did online with Jake. And we still do it, but not as often as we did, you know, 8 years ago when we started. And it's just frustrating that there are so many people walking around saying, like, yes, I agree, I am Christian, and they haven't even read the Bible. It's just frustrating. I don't know.
Yeah, poor little thing's kicked out of the tree. You can come to our tree.
I want to see if the koala gets another tree. Oh god, they're gonna fight again! Wait, which one is which? I gotta know which one is which so I know who to root for. I'm rooting for this one, because this is the one that got kicked out. Tumek Van Raven with 100 bits. Considering how much this koala is crying and bitching about being cancelled from that tree, also shows he has to be alt-right. Are we seeing a pattern? Koalas are chuds, confirmed. Stellar Sea Cow. This koala sounds like me when all the toilets in my house are preoccupied, but I have to pee really bad. Alright, chat. We're rooting for bottom koala. We're gonna call him Hank. And this other one is Jeff. Hank and Jeff. And we're rooting for Hank. Oh no, Hank! Oh, Hank's bad at this. Oh no, Jeff's coming down to fight more. Oh, Hank. Go find another tree. There's literally trees all around you. Oh. That's cute.
There's nothing funny
but
about
no,
the tools
Hans,
of
it does not look
capitalism.
like CGI. It just looks like real animals. Just do what Jeremy does, use a basement drawer. Hey, I know the pee drawer for Jeremy is a meme, but he was peeing on the floor, okay? There's a difference. He had a drain in the floor and he was peeing. It's still gross and he was still really, really drunk, but it was not a drawer. It was a drain in the floor. Yeah, Hans, I don't know what to tell you. I've seen koalas before, and they definitely, obviously they weren't CGI because it was in person, and they also weren't animatronic. They just looked like real animals. They were real animals. I don't know what to tell you, Hans. Go to a zoo. Dr. Gamble, all Hank wanted to do was sail his friend Eucalyptus and propane accessories. Was sell his friend propane and propane. Okay, I probably wound you up for that one.
It's like bad quality, so maybe start with the easy ones, I guess. Really, you can just go find so many obviously plushy koalas, though. Yeah, just look how awkward that claw looks. The bright white. The fur is too sharp.
What do you mean the fur is too sharp?
Here, what I put here is it looked like the perspective got like really off on this. Like the head became way too small. Just the koala looks like it's a little bit too small in the rendering here. Like the head especially.
What are you talking about? It looks the same size and all the... Sometimes the camera's further away. Do you know how, like... Hans, you know that if you shoot something from further away with the camera, it looks smaller, right? But it's not really smaller relative to everything around it. It just appears to be so. I'm gonna count that as doesn't know how cameras work. Do we have doesn't know how cameras work? Someone doesn't understand how cameras work. Click that one if you have it on your card.
There's nothing funny about
Here was
the
a
tools of capitalism.
Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. The number of Christians I've recommended TBR to is insane. The sheer amount of conversations I've had to go, have you read the Bible? Yes. Oh, have you? Of course. I'm Christian, but in full, like cover to cover? What? Well, no. You don't even have to do it yourself. Watch TBR on YouTube. It's really entertaining. Doubt they ever do, but it's ridiculous. Oh, they wouldn't even get to the first episode. We were terrible in the beginning of TBR. We were awful. Both in content, attitude, and equipment. It's a triple threat of bad.
Frontal shot. Just notice how the fur is really sharp in certain places, but then blurry in other places. The thing about the really nice CGI, it's like when you take a still frame, it looks like a computer graphic. It doesn't look like real life, like the...
No, looks like a koala.
Like the actor.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
The actor looks natural, the lighting looks natural, the koala just looks like CGI. What's up with the bright white? But then...
That's its white, that's its fur, Hans. That's its fur. That happens sometimes when you're taking a photo. The edges of things will get washed out a little bit depending on the lighting. Especially considering this thing has a bunch of, like, gray and white fur. Hans, come on. Stephen J. Neptune Man with 10 bits. Has Hans ever seen the animatronics at Disney World? They tend to have awkward movement and stay in one place. Animatronics that move faster, more fluidly are still in development. Yeah, there's some pretty cool newer ones at Disney. I like amusement park, theme park YouTube. There's some cool ones, like the one that Disney put into Avatar Land. That's the Avatar like lady. That one looks pretty good, but like those things are expensive and they're very specialized, right? Like they can only do the same motions over and over. If you want to do new stuff, you have to reprogram it, and if you wanted to do certain things well, you might have to like rip it open and change some of the stuff in it. And Disney has like the best animatronics on the planet in their parks. So the idea that you can just have animatronic koalas all over the world at zoos and they look so good that it's tricking everyone is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. edgy early Hannah was cringe. Oh, absolutely. I agree.
The actor doesn't have any like lighting over on that side.
I was a chud back in the day. That was fun. And by fun, I mean terrible.
But then this is supposed to be white, like pure white and very smudgy. So it's CGI. Why is the fur super sharp over here, but then super smudgy in the crotch region? Because you're looking at a CGI koala.
These are closer to the camera than the crotch.
Koala.
So the focus is pulled more towards the leg area.
This looked super awkward. Like, what's going on here?
Motion? It's moving. That's what's happening.
What is this? Do you see the sharp outline of the nose and then the blurred background? And it's just a CGI rendering of a koala. And then look how sharp this is down here. And it looks like a texture, not like...
Because they're not moving in their legs, Hans, so the legs are going to come out less blurry. Because you're pausing a video.
like real life. It looks like a computer graphic, a texture applied to a 3D skeleton.
No, it
doesn't
doesn't.
look like real life.
What?
The lighting just is so off all the time. Just look how natural the lighting on the actor looks.
She's not moving, Hans.
And how unnatural everything there looks. So anyways, when you pause it and start freeze framing, things start looking really off. Really, really off. Just a disconnect in the lighting. And again, something about how sharp it is down here versus how weird and fuzzy and faded it is up here. It's just not real life. You're looking at computer graphics. Have you ever taken think of back in the day when everybody used those clicky cameras, the real film footage. Could you ever imagine taking a film photograph and it looking like this? Like, what is this? It's just so...
Is your evidence that film photography looks different than digital photography, especially digital photography that's not taking a single still image, but is taking 20 whatever frames per second of video? Yeah, they do look different, Hans. That's not evidence that koalas aren't real. There are old photos of koalas before digital photography, too, if you'd like to see. MMO Addicted with 10 bits. I found this oddly not awful 1950s dieting PSA. It has some fat jokes at the beginning, but the advice they give is actually kind of not bad. Like, there's nothing bad in treating yourself to ice cream from time to time. Just don't cover it in cream and chocolate. Watch out for butter and other hidden calories, and most importantly, consult a doctor. And don't starve yourself. The profile which posted it looks cringe, though. Yeah. Counting calories, good way to go. Dr. Gamble, Space Station Silicon Valley confirmed. Game reference I don't get. Okay. And then Antipodian Squid with 10 bits. When you freeze frame between frames, let's look at old photos of koalas. Film, I don't know if that'll help. Photos of koalas. I don't know if these are on film or not, but, they're photos taken as still images, so they're going to have a higher quality than freeze framing a video, especially if you're freezing it, like, between frames. So here's some koala bears hanging out. Here's another koala. Here's a lady holding a koala while wearing safety equipment, because they don't want the koala to mess them up. Here's another koala. Koala, 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 koala. These don't look fake, Hans. If you think these look fake, you're delusional.
Obviously digitally enhanced. Whereas this looks more natural. And then you get down to computer land. But it looks good, very high quality. But that's why I wanted to do this video, because a lot of times I kind of focus on the really obvious bad ones. And look at this too, King G. G-E-E, but G, like masonry. The letter G, really.
King G. I'm guessing it's just, you know, a brand of shirt.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Hans. King G is an Australian workwear company. They make shirts and uniforms for places like zoos. It's not some, like, conspiracy. It's literally a shirt that the zoo bought for their workers. You idiot. Take 5 seconds to Google something before you open your mouth and say something that shows objectively that you are a moron. My God.
Really big. And there was a lot of subtle hand signs going on, the pointing. I showed the koala doing the 666, that kind of thing. But it's
Daddy Sumo with 10 bits. Koalas. Koala, koala, koala. That's a koala. Kamala, Kamala. That's a VP.
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Webster 7765. It's too cute to be real. Now that's evidence I can accept.
GI. That's why it's all blurry next to the person's hand, and then super sharp over on the knees and stuff. Hope you enjoyed the video. God bless everyone.
God, Hans. Hans, koalas are real. Focus your time on something that's less stupid, like flat Earth. Still stupid, but it's less stupid than the koala thing. Okay. A call for an uprising. Stephen J. Neptune, man with 10 bits, has Hans seen any pictures of koalas from before CGI and animatronics were a thing? Yeah, he thinks they're stuffed animals. He has an excuse every time. It's very, very silly. Antipodian Squid with 10 bits. Australia, does its animals, its people, its clothing brands exist? Hans says no. Guess I'll return to the void. MMO Addicted with 10 bits. Just a reminder to everyone when voting, take a careful look at all your proposals. Just help my friend go through his ballot earlier. Be aware that some ballots are two-sided. True. True. I've had that before too, where you have the double side on the ballots. Okay, so A Call for an Uprising has a new video entitled Warning, Be Aware and Be Careful, starting on October 13th, 2020. And what do we know? That's today. So let's see what A Call for an Uprising thinks is supposed to be happening that we need to beware of.
You've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was? Then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore. Secret reality is
uprising. Well,
call for an.
You mentioned the Illuminati, so if you have Illuminati on your card, get it.
Uprising.
This is A Call for an Uprising. Welcome to today's show. Every year around October 13th, I talk about this because this is the beginning of ritual season 2020 here, October 13th, in one of the craziest years with the things that were going on. We're seeing how we're moving closer to this 1984 end times type of society. It's important to remember the stuff that I'm going to share with you, so please listen and share it with people so they know. Because it's not a joke, even though everyone will say it's a joke. They just don't see the constant praising of witches, magic, and this satanic lifestyle, you know.
You mean Halloween? You mean people having fun with Halloween stuff? That's not what that is. People are having fun with the holiday. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Halloween. It's a thing that people do. And just because, like, part of its roots have things in, like, Samhain or whatever, that doesn't mean most people are Satanists. It's just a fun holiday for people. Sorry. This year, it's not even going to be that fun for kids because they can't go out and do trick-or-treating. It sucks. But it is what it is, you know? The Stellar Sea Cow. Wait, Mercury is in retrograde now, too. Or am I tripping? I don't even know what that means. I don't do astrology stuff because it's not real, so I don't know what that means. MMO Addicted. Also, since I was helping my friend with his ballot and researching stuff for him, I'm officially foreign interference in your election. Pretty sure that's not what that means, but if it makes you feel better, yeah, sure.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Dude spanking dudes with 10 bits. It's kind of stupid that people think that us pagans are Satanists. You don't gotta be a Satanist to do spells. I'm not gonna say what I want to say there.
Music videos, the movies, the promotion of it, they don't see it. They're blinded by it because they think everything is art or some type of entertainment, when in reality they're being programmed to accept it and be desensitized. So
why does he have like an echo effect? Does he legit like record this in a shed with concrete floors and like walls? Or does he add that echo effect in post because he thinks it sounds cool? Note, it does not sound cool. Please stop. It is annoying.
Share this information. As most of you who follow the channel know, I try to point out these satanic ritual dates on the satanic calendar. I do it just
Tucker White 94. When in America is all this cool stuff in this video happening? Because I want to move to it. Yeah. I'll live in Satanist America. Probably have more rights.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
MMO Addicted with 10 bits. I was joking, Hannah. But it's amusing to me that I had to explain American policies and politics as well as taxation and rent control to my friend. Oh, God.
because it's important for spiritual warfare to know what's going on. I've always felt that way, at least. I understand.
Drakewing, thank you for subscribing with a 5-month streak. 5 months of Hannah time. Hope you enjoy it.
Some people say, well, why do we need to know? Well, you don't necessarily need to know. If you're not interested, obviously don't listen to the video. I'm not trying to create fear and paranoia by saying this is what goes on during these dates, but people should be aware because a lot of abductions occur. A lot of animals go missing. This is stuff that actually...
Not more so than the rest of the year.
does go on. It's been going on.
This is literally like repeating BS satanic panic stuff from the 80s that wasn't true then, and it's not true now.
For hundreds of years in this time period, because these are significant dates for the Satanists. This is when the veil is at its thinnest. This is when offerings are given to Satan, specifically during this period of time, which starts October 3rd.
Why would Satan only want offerings in October? If I'm Satan, I want them all year round. Satanists, come on. Get some animals, sacrifice them, drink their blood. I don't care if it's June. I don't care if it's October. I don't care if it's February or March or April. Do it! I'm Satan!
13th and runs to the 31st, which is Samhain, Halloween.
Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. I feel like we're watching a live-action chick tract. Kinda.
Night. All we truly need in this spiritual warfare is God, is the scriptures, is prayer. But during these specific dates, it's important to make sure you are in prayer and you're aware that spiritual warfare is running rampant. And that if you have animals and stuff like that, you should definitely keep an eye on them. The myth of a cat getting abducted on, you know, All Hallows Eve or on Halloween, it's not a myth. Okay, they don't, stuff like this doesn't just become a myth. Oh, did you hear?
Spoilers, it's a myth.
Here, the cat got killed. It's been going on since witches have been here.
Or it's literally a bunch of douchey teenagers stealing a cat and doing something gross to it. Like killing it or something because they're sick. But it's not Satanists. It's not Satanists stealing your cat.
So you could date it back as far as you want to date it. So this period, which starts the 13th, as you know, with Aleister Crowley and the law of reversals, 13th is 31 backwards. On the 13th, they begin their preparation for All Hallows Eve and Samhain. This is like an abduction period. They hold ceremonial preparations for sacrifices and human sacrifices during...
Question, where's your evidence for this? Other than some idiot said it to you once. What's your evidence? Please? Hello? Hello? McFly? You gonna actually say where your evidence is, or are you just gonna say this like it's true? Iron Q-Bolt, I'm the one stealing his cats. Well, he probably deserves it, and frankly, those cats could probably go to a better home anyway.
This time period, which leads up to October 28th and 30th, which is, you know, this when they start doing their blood rituals, their human sacrifices each day. It could be...
I'll have you know, I start my blood rituals on the 25th, okay? You want to start early? and you want to start thoroughly, lots of blood, okay? Let's be clear. I'm not one of these milquetoast Illuminati who's like, oh, it's the 28th, I better start doing my blood sacrifices. No, you do it early. You show up early, you leave late. That's how you get in good with the boss. The boss being Beelzebub, obviously.
Male or a female, and then October 30th and 31st, which is All Hallows Eve and Halloween night. That's where they perform sexual orgies, sexual climax. They summon all sorts of demons. There's animal and human sacrifice that occurs, and it's when the veil during this period is at its thinnest. What that means is that it's easier for them.
Don't forget protection, kids, for all your satanic orgies, okay? We're gonna have fun. We're gonna drink the blood of some innocent animals, but we're gonna be safe while we do it. Tucker White 94, do satanic sacrifices also count as satanic ritual child abuse? Well, it's satanic, so yeah. Even though it's not ritual child abuse, it is satanic, so you got that one. Hold on, let me go get my friend.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
The Stellar Sea Cow, but if I use protection, how will I be the vessel of the Antichrist? Obviously, if you're the vessel, then you don't wear protection. Everyone else should, though.
Their spells are stronger during this period because it's easier for them to summon demons from the other side for their...
Magic isn't real. Demons aren't real. So none of these things are a danger to literally anyone.
Their black magic rituals and all this disgusting, embarrassing stuff that these Satanists partake in. So it's important during this time period to stay strong in your prayers. It's important during this time period to just
counter their evil magic with your good magic. Magic is real.
Just keep an eye on your pets, okay? And I know people go, oh, that's ridiculous, it's over the top. Listen, if you go down, I don't know where, anybody out there lives, but...
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. If magic was real, I would have sold my soul by now. What is wrong with you? I know, that's the thing, right? Like, if magic was real, and I could team up with Satan to learn magic, heck yeah, I'd be on that team. All the way, okay? But it's not a thing that happens. It's not a thing that exists. Satan isn't real. I hate to break it to you. Satan's not real. So, maybe chill out. Just enjoy Halloween. Go watch Nightmare on Elm Street or something.
If I go into my town or a town, and I do, when I do leave the house, I see signs all the time, especially during ritual seasons, of missing dogs, okay, that just, they're just missing. They were in someone's backyard cage.
They're missing dog or cat signs around all year round. You're probably noticing them more in October because you're a delusional person who has a bias where you're looking for them in October because you're like, oh, it's October.
There's nothing
The part of the time of the year Satanists are stealing animals, so you're actively looking for them, and thus creates an issue where you're only noticing them in October, and it makes you think, oh, I was right. It's like a bias. You're confirming your own bias by looking for these things in October.
Caged in, and then the dog goes missing. The dog didn't jump over the fence and run away. Okay, people aren't kidnapping the dog because they said...
Antipodian Squid, and I do leave the house. Sure, pal, you definitely leave the house. We believe you.
Did you see that dog next door? What a beautiful dog. We should take the dog and keep the dog for ourselves. These animals are taken for sacrifice rituals. That's what they're taken for. People aren't stealing other people's pets and then selling them on the black market. That's not how it...
I don't think a lot of people steal pets and sell them. I think a lot of people steal pets because they want a pet or some other reason. I don't even know. I think it's mostly if someone steals a pet, it's because they want a pet. I don't think I've ever heard of someone stealing a pet to sell it. I'm sure there's someone addicted to drugs out there who's tried, but who's buying a dog from like a crackhead? That's not a thing I think most people are willing to do. TubeMan642. What I never understood about people who believe in witches is why they think they could stop witches. They have magic. They could kill you instantly. Yeah, I don't get that either. Sorry, I missed your bits, Daddy Sume. Let me see if I can go back. Do they think The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is a documentary? That's a good show. I like that show. I haven't caught up, though, so no spoilers.
What's working here, okay? That's just not what's going on. But they want you to think that that stuff happens, but they don't bring attention to abductions and kidnapping of animals, and they certainly don't bring much attention to the kidnapping and abduction of children, which is just ridiculous that is something in an election period. Like right now, they don't talk about how many kids are going missing and how trafficking.
The number of kids going missing isn't noticeably different right now than any other period. And again, when QAnon people, this guy's someone who believes in QAnon, although he hasn't explicitly said it, so no, don't knock that off your thing. Daddy Sume, spoilers, it's not real. Sorry, Hannah. Yeah, the vast majority, like 80 to 90% of all child kidnappings, they're not like your stereotypical white van stranger kidnappings. The vast majority of kidnappings are done by parents or by other family members. So, like, if you don't have custody of your kid, and you take that kid without the consent of the one who does have custody, that's a kidnapping. For instance, let me show you some fun stuff. QAnon kidnapping. Nope, that's not. There have been multiple in the past year or so instances where QAnon believers have kidnapped their own kids because they don't have custody anymore, and they're crazy QAnon people, so they go and they kidnap their own children. So more QAnon believers have participated in kidnapping than any Satanist Democrats, because QAnon believers exist. Satanist Democrats don't. At least not in the way QAnon believers think they do.
Industry makes over $32 billion annually.
Poopy Dickens with a stat that's quite enlightening. About 200,000 child abductions happen every year. Less than 400 are done by a stranger. True. Stranger danger is a lie. I hate to break it to everyone, although, yeah, don't get in a van with a stranger. But, like, you're much more likely to be kidnapped as a child, or harmed as a child, or abused as a child by a family member than a stranger. Welcome to the horrifying reality of the world in which we live. Hope you enjoy your stay.
I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of money. It's almost as much as drug trade. And you don't hear anybody talk about it. All you're talking about is Donald Trump talking.
People talk about child trafficking all the time. People talk about it all the time. What are you talking about?
About another woman's private parts, and Hillary Clinton's set up faked leaked emails, which is all part of this plan, this staged event. Her email.
Oh, the emails thing is fake now because they didn't find anything, you know. They didn't find anything that's, what's the word I'm thinking of? They didn't find anything incriminating in the emails, so now the emails are fake. That's a new one. I haven't heard that before.
Emails wouldn't leak unless they wanted to. So all this stuff is what people focus on. They think the rest of this stuff is, not important or fictional. In reality, this is the stuff that's going on. Children are being abducted, and they're being abducted not because people want other people's kids so that they can, they couldn't have a kid on their own, so they want to abduct someone else's. And despite what they'll tell you, okay, because I know when they bring up child abduction, they say, well, they're abducting children, then they're sending them to third world countries so they could do slave labor. That's the illusion they want to create, because they don't want to mention that they're abducting them for sexual rituals and satanic rituals. What else are they going to say? When people go, where are these kids going? Why are they going missing? That's the excuse they give. So they set up fake charities. I've exposed one on this channel before. Just, charities that, we're accepting money to try to help get kids out of third world countries who are doing slave labor, who are abducted in America. It's all a ruse. It's all to get people to look in the opposite direction and say, oh, okay, kids are going missing, but this is where they're going. Nobody's talking about satanic rituals and this stuff. Now, I'll probably do a video talking about Halloween and what's behind it, the satanic, meaning behind it and what it really stands for. But I'll say something here, which I don't hear that many people say, but you have to really put it in perspective. This has only been going on for 100 years or so, give or take. Halloween in America. And a lot of other countries don't celebrate. It's a satanic holiday. Halloween is a satanic holiday. That's all.
No, it's not. Halloween, as it's practiced in the United States and other countries, is not a satanic holiday. It's not. It's a holiday where people go out, if they're kids, and they go trick-or-treating, and they get candy from other people, and if you're an adult, you have a party, or maybe you stay in and just give candy to kids, or you stay in and you watch, scary movies. It's a good time, and it's fun. A lot of people like Halloween for obvious reasons. It's just a fun, spooky time, and the aesthetic is pretty great. So people enjoy that stuff, but it's not satanic. It's just not. I don't know why you guys think it's satanic. It's so weird that you believe that. Oh, it muted. Sorry.
Behind it, not just, behind the holiday and the worship of Satan. The purpose behind the trick-or-treating and all that stuff is pretty easy to figure out. They need to do child sacrifice.
Yeah, the origins aren't satanic. They're pagan. Paganism and Satanism are different things. But, again, the origins of, like, Christmas are pagan, too. But that doesn't make Christmas a pagan holiday. It's not. It is both a Christian and secular holiday. People celebrate it differently. Halloween is a secular holiday.
Sacrifices and rituals on Halloween. How else would they get kids back 70 years ago? Okay, they were kidnapping and abducting children because kids were going around knocking on doors asking for candy. Kids were going missing.
Okay, so you think like the first Halloween where people decided to do trick-or-treating. By the way, this is like 70 years ago when everyone knew their neighbors. And you think that they're like, hey guys, we're going to do this new thing called trick-or-treating. And a bunch of kids walked around and got candy. And a bunch went missing and they went, well, that was kind of a bust. But I guess we should continue to do this for another 70 years. That's incredibly stupid. Incredibly, incredibly stupid. Christians have no creativity and they need to just admit it. I think that's a really, really blanket statement that does not apply in reality. Like, most classical, or not classical, like most Renaissance artists were, like, Christian. I don't think that that's a fair thing to say at all. Daddy Sume, anything that isn't Christian is Satan. Pagan equals Satan. Muslim equals Satan. Buddhism equals Satan. Yeah, anything that isn't Christian, some people think is Satan for some reason. Antipodian Squid with 100 bits. Petition to rebrand Christmas as a satanic holiday due to its pagan origins for consistency. I'm down.
They were abducting them.
It wouldn't even be hard. Santa's like really close to Satan anyway. In spelling.
And using them for ritual sacrifice. Now, over time, how did they start getting...
Tuvek Von Raven with 100 bits. I'm pretty sure pagans also had bad gods or other equivalents to Satan, probably. Kierthin with 100 bits. Hype train. Are we in a hype train? Every level of the hype train that we successfully get to, I will put on more tinfoil, as y'all know.
Getting their ritual sacrifices. Well, abortion became a huge thing in America because the Satanists brainwashed everybody into thinking it wasn't, a murder or a sacrifice or any of those things. They said, oh, it's a woman's choice. They turned it into a feminist movement when it's...
Really, we're bringing abortion into this now? Okay, cool. I didn't know abortions only happen in October. Crystal Cat with 100 bits. Hype, 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 hype. Thank you. And Bellstar, armor up, Hannah, to protect against the 5G. I will. Woohoo Lulu with 10 bits. I once told a religious friend that atheists are... Oh. I once told a religious friend that atheists are pagan because any belief against God is pagan. Antipodian Squid gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are... Let me see what level we're at now. MW1642 with 300 bits. That's the last of my bits. Well, thank you. I appreciate them very much. Let me get some... Ooh, I'm getting hiccups. That's not good. That's not good for a stream. Level... We're already got through level 3s. Nice. Let me get these glasses.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
This is difficult to do on my own, the Stellar Sea Cow. Okay, so when my mom was in a cult, they literally didn't celebrate Christmas because it was satanic because of the pagan origins. But birthdays, Halloween, Easter were all not okay. Yeah, in America, similarly, when, was it America or the UK? I don't remember. But, like, when Christmas was starting to be a thing, there were similar concerns, like, oh, this is a pagan holiday, and a bunch of, people got sticks up their butts about it. But, of course, over time, they came around, and now basically everyone in the Western world celebrates Christmas.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
Let me get that foily vest. 1, 2, Antipodian Squid, thank you for gifting another sub.
There's nothing funny about the
Where
tools of
did
capitalism.
it go? It's like this. Jacob Faces, or Jaco Faces, thank you, with 100 bits. Appreciate it. Stellar Sea Cow with 50 bits. Both the UK and the US didn't allow Christmas, but mostly because young men would get drunk as F and start problems. Yeah, that sounds about right. We'll have my gavel to make rulings. Me and Beelzebub.
Nothing funny about the tools.
70% of the level 4 hype train. Beelzebub. Oh, that's funny because I just mentioned this Beelzebub. Beelzebub, thank you for the 33 bits. Ooh, 33. That's an Illuminati number or something.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Actually, the killing of a child, and they convinced the masses out there.
Does tinfoil protect against koalas? It does protect against CGI creatures, yes. Random invite. Thank you for subscribing. I'm late. What did you miss? Not much. Koalas are fake. Did you know that? Antipodian Squid gifting another sub. Vulcan Princess 97. Bell's Star with 50 bits. Let me get that drunk mass, though. That sounds pretty great. And Tumek Von Raven with 500 bits. All jokes aside, was there ever a conspiracy theory you examined and thought that could be legit? That's a good question. Conspiracy theories that I think
There's nothing funny
could
about
be
the tools
true.
of capitalism.
Beelzebub with 42 bits. Thank you. There's one where it's a JFK conspiracy theory, but it's not that the CIA or anyone killed him. It's that, oh God, why am I blanking on? Oh, Lee Harvey Oswald. His name's Lee Harvey Oswald. The conspiracy goes that Lee Harvey Oswald went to shoot JFK and missed, and then a Secret Service agent was fumbling for their gun, and when they went to do so, they're actually the one who shot JFK in the head, and that's why it's a weird situation. That one's not true, but for a while I was like, that's hilarious. That could be true. I don't believe conspiracy theories that involve, like, for one thing, I don't really believe in most conspiracy theories because they tend to be really, really stupid and involve a lot of magical thinking. But
There's nothing funny about
I
the tools
do
of
think
capitalism.
that there's probably situations where the government or other organizations do something really, really stupid and they try and cover it up. So that's why that one was interesting to me. Again, I don't think that's legit what happened. I do think Lee Harvey Oswald killed him, but it's funny to think about. Roman Civilian with 300 bits. Thank you. And like 9/11. Like I don't think that was like a. I mean, it was a conspiracy in the sense that the 9/11 hijackers, you know, had a plan. Al Qaeda or whatever, like had a plan, and that was a conspiracy. But the idea that 9/11's some sort of like governmental conspiracy, no, I don't think that. But I think they even did a mini-series about this called The Looming Tower. I don't remember who put it out. But basically a lot of intelligence agencies had little bits and pieces of the puzzle in terms of like predicting 9/11 happening and knowing something was going to go down. But they weren't sharing information with one another. And that allowed, you know, it to happen unabated. So I find that interesting. But yeah, there's not a lot of conspiracy things that I believe. I don't know. Pier Squire, I heard that Jack Ruby was paid by the KGB to kill Oswald, so I wouldn't blame them. The Jack Ruby thing is weird. It is so weird that Lee Harvey Oswald got killed like days after. That is super bizarre. But I understand, I don't believe in JFK conspiracies, but I do understand why it spawned so many. It is a super bizarre situation. Stellar Sea Cow, honestly, I think the Secret Service accidentally killed JFK. The guy on his security detail were all pretty hungover. Looming Tower was about FBI and CIA conflicts. A lot of it was set from the first World Trade Center bombing to the embassy and ends on 9/11. Yeah. What was the other one? Oh god, I already lost my train of thought on it. Sorry. 41% of the level 5 of the hype train.
There to go along with it, to stand up for women having the right to choose. And what it really is a sacrifice and a ritual. So as time progressed and people...
No, that's not what abortions are. Abortions are a medical procedure. They're not a satanic ritual. Tucker White 94. While I agree with most of the 9/11 story, I can't completely dismiss the idea that there was some complicity within the U.S. government.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
Let me be clear. I don't think this is true. I am not a 9/11 conspiracy theorist. But if it came out at some point that like the George Bush administration, the George W. Bush administration kind of knew it was coming and decided to let it happen so they could war profiteer, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world to me. I don't necessarily think that happened, I'm just saying. 52% with 30 seconds left in the hype train. Tucker White 94, well, I agree with most of 9/11. Oh, already read that. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Yay, my new headset is here. Time to prepare to stream. Nice. Tumek Von Raven with 300 bits. I think people have conspiracy theories about 9/11 because a state conspiracy is less scary than a bunch of Arabs forcing the strongest nation to its knees. I suppose. I guess. But that's like, you know.
There's nothing funny about the tools.
How do I put this? Antipodian Squid with 1,000 bits. Bits of hype, love, 85%. We were so close. We were so close. Nice, though. Thank you, everyone, for the level 4 hype train. I think I still need to get one more thing or something. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's shocking to people to think about how easy it is for people to commit terrible acts like 9/11. But, you know, people do. It's not that hard. It's sad. It's scary, but that's reality. The positive thing is stuff like that doesn't happen super often, I guess, depending on what country you're in, depending on how unstable the country is. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's nice to think about how it's not like 9/11 is happening every other day, you know? Like, that could have happened through a lot of history, but just people don't do that. They don't do that very often. I gotta find some more tinfoil. And then we'll finish this video out.
Agreed with and went along with abortion. There wasn't as much of a need for them on Halloween to abduct kids because it was riskier to do it, right? Somebody grabbing a kid off the street, especially now with phones and the technology, is a little bit more risky for them. But since they have the abortion ritual sacrifices, they use those for their satanic rituals during this period. But kids are...
Well, that's convenient for everyone involved, isn't it? Someone doesn't want to give birth, so they get an abortion. Which, by the way, it's convenient that Satan considers, like, you know, month-old, 2-month-old fetuses to be equivalent to a child. That's very convenient. So a woman gets rid of her pregnancy that's unwanted, and Satan's happy and doesn't have to kill actual living, breathing children that matter. Seems like a win-win.
Still getting abducted, but the reason that it started, really, even though they'll tell you, oh, it was about candy, it was about, they were trying to help out the candy business. There's all sorts of lies that float out there about it. You can read many different ones. The History Channel even has lies and propaganda out there about, oh, it started as a small thing in a small town and it spread in the West, and oh, now it's just a tradition for people. It's for kids.
And that's the truth as far as I know. If you have evidence to the contrary, provide it. Otherwise, shut up. Like, if you have actual evidence that Halloween is a satanic conspiracy theory put forth to brainwash children, then you need to provide evidence to that. And if you have no evidence, then you need to shut your mouth. That's how that works.
To have fun and have candy and all this nonsense.
Fun is nonsense. No more fun, kids, okay?
Idea around it, think about it, was for them on a night where they do these satanic rituals, where they sacrifice and do pedophilia with children, okay? On that specific night, the night that veils the thinnest, the night that is most important and sacred to the Satanists, that kids are running around knocking on doors at a time period where you probably weren't, it wasn't easy to abduct kids and you weren't getting abortion sacrifices. They had to have a way where they could go and grab children and perform ritual sacrifices and abduct them and kidnap them. And if you go back, the statistics you'll find now are very much tainted. You won't hear stuff. They almost...
I wonder what this guy means by they. He means Satanists. He thinks that there's like Illuminati Satanists. He's into QAnon, so he thinks it's all Satanists. And yes, it probably involves a certain amount of anti-Semitism. Let me see if there's some anti-Semitism on this. Thinly veiled anti-Semitism. Yeah, I'll count that.
Have made it like a myth, like, oh, didn't kids used to get abducted in the 80s and the 70s on Halloween night? Wasn't that like the worst night for child abductions? You can't find stuff really on it anymore.
Because it isn't true! Because that was an urban myth! Because that was part of Satanic Panic, which was fake! boy, I can't believe I can't find information on this thing that was never true.
But growing up and, you know, you would hear about it all the time in small towns.
What day does Halloween fall on? October 31st.
Missing. A kid went missing. Now they don't even mention it on the news anymore. It's almost like, oh, nothing's happening on Halloween. It used to happen all the time. I don't know how frequent it is now, like I said, because they can get the ritual offerings through the abortions, so it's not as mandatory for them to go around picking up kids and using them for ritual sacrifices. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the parents in the covens were offering up their children as sacrifice as well, but this was another means for them to do the...
Again, these are all unsubstantiated claims. He's just saying words and not providing any evidence that any of this is true. This is things he's heard on weird uber Christian like message boards and other satanic panic sources. None of this is evidenced to ever have happened. None of this is true.
The abduction and the kidnapping. And that, to me, that's, you know, the core and the reason behind the trick-or-treating, behind all of that stuff.
I don't think this counts as my research unless he literally says my research. You gotta have him actually say that they've done some research. Stephen J. Neptune Man, sadly, Halloween is actually satanic is one of the more common conspiracy theories. The retired NBA basketball player Amar Stoudemire? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Made an Instagram post a couple of years ago saying he boycotts Halloween for that very reason. Yeah, a lot of hardcore Christians believe stupid stuff like that. Tucker White 94. There's fake stories like this every year around Halloween. For example, there's usually a story about a drug dealers giving drugs to kids for free on Halloween, which is ridiculous because no drug dealer worth his or her their salt would give drugs for free. Yeah, there's been, I think in the history of Halloween, 2 examples of a kid being drugged via candy, and one of them was done by a family member. I don't remember what the other one was. Maybe it was only the one, I don't know. But I do know the one happened, and it was the uncle gave the kid, like, drugged up brownies or something, and the uncle got in a lot of trouble. No one is giving your shitty kids edibles, right? Like, if I had drugs, I'm not giving these drugs to children. I'm taking the drugs.
To make it fun, to get the kids out there. It's a complete distraction.
Like, do you know how expensive edibles are? Like, a good edible? I'm not giving that to a kid.
Kids are going missing. In the 80s, it was unbelievable how many kids were getting abducted.
Not during October. No. Again, this is a myth.
Unbelievable. And the statistics, when you look back on it, they still try to make it like it's some type of urban legend. Like, oh, kids were getting abducted. They were getting...
Because it is an urban legend. I'm sure kids got abducted in the 80s, and I was always very sad, like all child abductions are. But the idea that this is, like, connected to Satanism in some way is a completely unfounded lie. It is an urban legend. It's part of satanic panic. It's not what was happening.
Getting abducted. They just won't report on it anymore. And they won't give you...
Yeah, I know they're bringing Animaniacs back.
Real statistics on it anymore. They alter the statistics, just like they're altering the statistics now.
Oh, so when you look back and try and look at the statistics, oh, they don't show what you want, so it must be altered, and it can't be that you're wrong and quoting basically urban legends. Absolute delusion.
Now with, you know, cops shooting black people and vice versa, they're upping how many people are dying I mean, all this stuff.
Racism, too. Lovely.
That's always been going on. They're just changing the statistics around. That's how they convince people and use mind control over them. So again, this period starts October 13th and runs to the 31st. Just
sadly, drugs would probably be the healthiest thing those kids eat all day.
Be strong in your prayer and in scriptures and read it and trust only in Jesus Christ, not in man, not in the media, not in politics, not in anything you hear going on out there, not in me, not in other YouTubers. Trust only in Jesus Christ. Stay strong in prayer and in faith. Just keep an eye, you know, on your pets and your kids, if you have kids or grandkids, because it's truth. I know people go, well, that's fear, you're fear mongering. And this is the reality of the matter. Okay?
No, it's not. No, it's not. And you know how I know it's not? Because you provided no evidence. And you know how I know you know it's bullshit? Because if it was true, then you would have provided evidence it's true and not just spent 11 minutes being like, some super serial, guys. This is so important. It's happening. Okay, show the proof. Show any evidence that this is the case. Absolute loser. Making things up and fear-mongering over satanic panic urban legends that were never true. What a joke. This guy's a friggin' joke. Anyway, that's enough of a call for an uprising for today. Same energy as Mandela effect, but I remember differently when I was a child. Well, guess what? You're wrong. Yep. Alright, let's see what else we got. Hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Do that. Let's do some ghosts. Let's do ghosts.
Top 5 YouTubers who caught ghosts in their videos. Megan Curry. Megan Curry is filming a YouTube video with her roommates when they begin to hear strange knocking sounds coming from somewhere in the house.
I went to the 99-cent stores. Jesus.
What was that?
Oh, I can already tell this is fake. She's a really bad actress.
Is it Amanda?
Jesus, what was that? Acting. I'm acting.
No, she's going to be home for a little while.
Maybe she forgot her key?
Did I not have child abuse on the bingo card? I thought I did. Yeah, I have satanic ritual child abuse. I already had that one.
That was like such an aggressive knock.
I opened the door.
That was such an aggressive knock, guys. We definitely didn't plan this. I didn't make this up. That was an aggressive knock.
I like poked my head out and then like I didn't see anyone.
I don't know. Okay, let's try that again. Broco. I went to the 99-cent stores. Jesus.
What was that?
Jesus! What was that?
They believe that someone might have broken into their home and they call the police. However, after a sweep of the premises...
Spoilers, they definitely didn't call the police.
No intruder is found.
Oh, it happened because they wrote it in the video. The police came and checked our apartment building. They didn't find anything, so there was nothing they could do. We were still shaken up, but decided that kids were knocking on our door to play tricks on us. We assumed it was harmless and tried to carry on with filming. Uh-huh. I'm sure the police came and checked out your apartment for a knock on the door.
Megan returns to recording her vlog when the closet door behind her suddenly closes on its own.
Hey, I'm a baby. I bruise easily.
Wait, Maggie.
Yeah.
Did you close the closet door?
What closet door?
No.
What closet door? It's so bad. Why do people believe this?
Why would I close that? Wasn't it closed before? Are you trying to scare me?
No.
Because it's like really not the time. Let's watch the footage. Like we have to keep filming.
No, are you fucking kidding me? Like that's such a bad idea.
That scared me.
Things take an even stranger turn when the girls find that the door
Forgetting the ghosts. What's the story of the cuffs? No idea.
to Megan's room has been locked from the inside.
How would it lock? I'm out here.
No, your door's locked.
How would it lock from the outside?
I'm doing this.
No. I'm not trying to scare you, Amanda. I didn't lock my door. Did you lock my door?
No, I didn't touch it.
We gotta get the key and open it.
Oh, what the fuck? Maggie, no.
I have to take the camera.
When they finally get the door open, the room looks like it's been ransacked, with all the drawers open and decorations and knickknacks lying broken on the floor. When one of the roommates goes to the kitchen to fetch paper towels to help clean up, she is shocked by what she finds.
What? Oh my god. No, Amanda, stop scaring me. You're scaring me.
Go in the kitchen.
I don't want to go in the kitchen. What is she doing?
What is she doing? I better go look. Have you seen the film Poltergeist? Tucker White 94, intruder in the house, better grab the camera because I'm a view whore.
Oh my god, no. We have to get out right now. Come on, we need to.
Michael D. McGee.
Oh god, that's the stupidest response. We have to get out, or you could prove ghosts exist.
Connect Ghost. YouTuber Michael D. McGee claims that he has regularly experienced paranormal activity in his home, including doors and cupboards opening by themselves and strange noises in the middle of the night. One night he set up a Microsoft Kinect camera to film his kitchen while he slept. Kinect cameras are sometimes used by ghost hunters because they use infrared light and will try to lock onto any shape or figure in the room that is detected as possibly being a human body. even if the figure is not visible to the naked eye. Well, this night the Kinect seems to lock onto something that is not quite human, moving the kitchen drawers and cupboards around.
Tucker White 94. Wait, this is top 5 ghosts caught on camera. Where was the ghost caught on camera with that chick? I feel like they think that effects caused by a ghost count as ghosts caught on camera. See, at least this fake has effort put in. They did the Kinect camera, they got the thing where it's trying to track motion, but they got like... if you're gonna fake a ghost video, at least put the effort in like these people.
As you can see in the footage, the Kinect seems to pick up on something that it believes to be a person just after the cupboard door opens, slams shut, and then reopens. The Kinect picks up the strange figure again as a drawer near the stove opens and closes, seemingly on its own.
Tiger White 94, oh my god, you can see a string pulling the pantry door open. I'll look again in a sec. 2man642, I love that Paranormal Activity convinced a bunch of idiots that into thinking Kinects can see ghosts. Oh, is that a plot point in a Paranormal Activity movie?
Seemingly on its own. Morgs. Morgs does a channel with his parents that is primarily aimed at kids. He posted a video in mid-June where he's playing a game called, quote, "The Floor is Lava," with his mom in an old abandoned tunnel.
That is actually mental. Don't remember to, okay. Don't forget to leave.
He was shocked when he read the comments on his video. It seems that some viewers had spotted an odd miss.
He's known for fake stunts. What a shock. A YouTuber lied? This has never happened before.
Appearing out of nowhere in one scene in the video. Morgs made a follow-up post reacting to what viewers had found.
Mental. Yo, what we doing?
There, okay. Timestamp is 9:28 if you want to take a look for yourself. Look here, over Mum's shoulder, to the right portion of the screen. There, right.
I didn't see it.
There, like a cloud of smoke, but it wasn't smoky one bit.
Oh, this guy's a bad actor too.
Not one bit. This is...
In fairness, if you're a good actor, you wouldn't be on YouTube.
It's a tunnel. It was...
Unless you're like an actor like Will Smith or something that decides to make a YouTube channel later.
Damp. There was drips coming from, but there was not a bit of smoke. Not a single...
I didn't even see what they're trying to talk about.
There, right there, like a cloud of the screen.
What am I supposed to be looking at, even? There was nothing. What are you talking about?
There, right there, like a cloud of smoke, but it wasn't smoky one bit. Not one bit. This is a tunnel. It was damp.
Stellar Sea Cow, he sounds like he's going to go get some 50-pence cider at the Lidl in 2 years. I don't know what any of that means. What?
There was drips coming from, but there was not a bit of smoke. Not a single bit of smoke. And that is a promise, I swear. Let's
That's a promise, guys. And I get views for crazy stuff like this. So why would I lie about it?
Watch it again, but let's slow it down to 0.25 speed and take another look. Okay, it's here. Watch, guys. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Get ready. Watch in the black bit, in the black. Where?
Oh, it's smoke. It's like dust or something. The wind kicked up and a bunch of dust from this, like, disgusting area you're in. That's not a ghost. Dust isn't ghosts.
Hey, what is that? What actually is that? Where does that actually come from? Now that I'm watching it back, it is so clear.
Tinker Taylor 84, thank you for subscribing with Twitch Prime, and Tucker White 94 with 10 bits. Okay, even if you can't act, someone who actually saw a ghost would probably just be a bit more jittery and emotional. Yeah, I don't know.
What is that then? It's a completely different shade of color.
It's dust or something. Or it's, the air's probably already dusty down there, and light's just hitting that specific section in such a way as to highlight that area of dust in the air.
You can actually see it. It's like, but the thing is, it just...
Even he doesn't buy this one. I can tell by the way he's acting that he's trying. Like, I think everyone can. I'm not acting like I'm like some, you know, I can read people. No, he's just a bad actor, and you can tell he's really, really playing this up for views. It's very stupid. It's Elon Musk blowing some dank clouds in the dark. It's always Elon.
Just comes out of nowhere.
Logan Paul and George Janko.
Oh, God.
Now, Logan Paul is certainly not the typical paranormal investigator, but when he saw a particularly bizarre paranormal video posted by his friend George Janko, he actually did an exam.
Iron Q-Bolt with 69 bits, nice. I've got a lot of ghost bunnies under my bed, I guess. Also, I naturally had 69 bits left, so might as well drop the noise number. Nice.
Examination and breakdown of his friend's creepy video.
So I'm gonna show you the clip from his vlog first, and then we'll dive into the actual file itself. This is from his vlog. I'm only gonna show you a little bit because that's all that's necessary, but check it out.
There's a creepy hut over there. We're gonna go check it out. Yo, what is that right there? That place. Dude, there's a cat right there. There's a cat.
Did you see that? Did you see that? I'm gonna play it again.
Dude, there's a cat right there. There's a cat.
What the? What was that? Oh! You know, so my first reaction was to go back.
I hate YouTube. I really, really do. What was that? Jump cut.
And play it in slow motion.
Dude, there's a cat right there. There's a cat.
Confirmed.
The fog or smoke? Is that what you're talking about?
Still a ghost. Still a f***ing ghost. Okay, this is the original file. This is not an edited vlog. This is the first 3-minute clip.
Thank you to ZachMan0 for following.
That was thrown into his vlog. The quality should be as high as it can be. Right here we see the ghost approaching, right? Okay, we see his shadow clearly. I'm gonna move this so you guys can get it. All right, so we don't see his shadow. Ghosts don't have shadows. We see the spirit, and then George's flashlight goes across. It crosses his body.
Are you talking about like the steam or the fog? It's like it's cold out, so the bodies and the breaths are causing steam. That's not the right word. It's not steam, but you know what I'm talking about. Condensation, basically. And you're calling that a ghost because you're an idiot.
And you can see it like...
This happens when it's cold out, guys. I don't know if you know how condensation of water particles in the air works, but it looks like this. Logan Paul, why don't you go try and film another dead body instead of making stuff up for views?
It crossed! It crossed, bro! Oh my god!
Dude, there's a cat right there. There's a cat.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
H3 Productions, Ghost Hunt. Now, this next video is my absolute favorite because not only do Ethan and Gila of H3 Productions never post fake videos, but they've actually exposed other YouTubers who posted fake ghost videos.
That doesn't mean you can't also post a fake at some point. I don't know anything about H3. I don't watch them. But like,
there's nothing funny about the
debunking videos doesn't make you like immune from faking it. Like if tomorrow I came out with a video and I was like, guys, I caught a ghost on camera, you should rightfully be very skeptical. Especially if I'm someone who regularly debunks stuff like that, considering I would probably know how to try and make it look more realistic, considering I've seen so many bad fakes. I don't know, just saying. Tucker White 94, Ethan, no! And Wing the Ultimate Nug. I saw someone blew vapor outside their mouth inside the Walmart today. They must be possessed by a ghost. Totally not secretly vaping inside.
Like
Vape Nation.
Lance Stewart, for example.
Like,
It almost seems fake to me because of the fact that like, you see this in movies and like you don't expect this to actually happen in real life, or this actually does happen. Well, it happened to me, which makes no sense on how, like, I'm still confused and baffled by it.
So I know Sir Lancelot says it doesn't make sense, but I think that it really does make sense. Now, if you look at Lance's jerk-off lotion next to the bed, you can see it's cut in half. I mean, it's really just a shitty green screen here. They didn't even bother to line it up well. But all of a sudden, when he's dragged out of the room, it pops right back into place. And when you get a little bit further, if you pause it right here, you can see a rope coming off the end of his foot. Or a little ghost jizz? I don't know. It's a toss-up. It could be ghost jizz.
So Ethan and Gila went on a ghost hunt with their friend musician Post Malone to a haunted water dam. Now it's obvious early on that Gila is already a bit freaked out.
Sounds corny and shit, but we just need to make sure that everything is like, just make sure we have no ill intentions. So guys, thanks for having us here. We're just here to see what's going on. We're here to make sure.
What the fuck? What the fuck? It was just a bottle. It was just a bottle? I'll just...
Gila, what the hell?
Holy shit. Scared the hell out of me. I think I touched you on it.
Wait.
I think it was the bottle.
Post Malone, more like Ghost Malone.
Gila,
where's a spooky Powerade demon? I don't know.
Gila, don't do that again.
Can we just get on with it?
So they're freaked out, and one of them thought something touched them. That's your evidence? I don't know if you know this, but people who are freaked out and edgy because they're in like a scary location will take anything happening to them and be even more freaked out.
Nothing funny about
that doesn't mean anything is there. The Stellar Sea Cow with 10 bits. Post Malone also went ghost hunting with Zach Baggins. Honestly, any ghost was probably just his stink fumes. Yeah, he touched the Dybbuk box, and then his plane wheel came off or something when they were trying to take off, and people were like, "Oh, the Dybbuk box cursed him."
You're the cameraman, you gotta be the rock.
They admitted it was one of them messing with them. They just said it. I didn't even hear it.
I think it was the bottle.
Gila,
where's a spooky Powerade demon? I don't know.
Gila, don't do that again.
Can we just get on with it?
You gotta be like, you're the cameraman, you gotta be the rock.
Gila, what happened?
That's true.
You're the rock.
Okay, tone it down. What happened? What happened?
Gatorade bottle?
I think it was this possessed Powerade bottle.
Despite feeling a bit uneasy, Ethan and Gila continue on the ghost hunt. While Ethan talks almost constantly through the 80-minute video,
people need to stop talking, first of all.
It seems that something else might be trying to communicate with Gila. Listen closely to this clip.
Apologies.
Yeah, right?
You're right. It's a biological need and it's not meant as disrespect. Apologies.
Yeah, right?
You're right. It's a biological need and it's not...
That's quite a stretch.
Disrespect. Apologies.
Yeah, right?
You're right. It's a biological need and it's not meant as disrespect.
Now this video was actually deleted from the H3H3 Twitch feed because they felt that the ghost hunt was a complete fail.
First of all, the main reason was because it just was like off-brand. It was a really
Wing the Ultimate Nug. If it's aliens, they discovered aliens trying to communicate with random person. Aliens confirmed.
Shitty video.
It's leprechauns. How dare you?
And YouTube was going to
really like it.
YouTube was going to suggest it to people, and it doesn't really represent the channel well, so we're like, this is shitty. When we finished that, we're like, this video's garbage, it's not usable, I'm not even gonna watch it.
But since nothing can ever be deleted from the internet, the ghost hunt video was immediately re-uploaded to YouTube by a fan, and the creepy incident immediately got attention in the video comments. So we know that H3 Productions, Ethan and Gila never post fake videos.
Oh my god.
So just what is this creepy voice?
I'll tell you what it's not. Not a ghost.
Right. It's a biological need and it's not meant as disrespect.
Did Gila actually catch a real EVP of a ghost calling her name?
No.
Or is it just some bizarre audio glitch?
That one. It's either that one or they added that in post, but it's not obvious enough that I think that's the case. I think it was just picking up something else. You said leprechaun, you know what that means. I assume I know what that video is.
Let me know what you think
Everyone
down
who
in the
believes
comments.
in leprechaun, say yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming it's that.
To get an up-close view at what some say is a piece of Irish folklore.
Some people in the Crichton area of Mobile say a leprechaun is taking up residence in their neighborhood. A leprechaun. NBC 15's Brian Johnson has more.
Curiosity leads to large crowds in Mobile's Crichton community, many of you bringing binoculars, camcorders, even camera phones to take pictures.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All you gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun say, yeah?
Eyewitnesses say the leprechaun only comes out at night. If you shine a light in its direction, it suddenly disappears. This amateur sketch resembles what many of you say the leprechaun looks like. Others find it hard to believe and have come up with their own theories and explanations for the image.
Tinker Taylor with 10 bits. EVP is always low quality mics at crazy high gain. Of course you're gonna get noise that sounds like something. Yeah.
This is casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff. And it told him to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
We're gonna get down to the bottom of this. Yeah, it's still on there, guy. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, man.
This guy helping to direct traffic says he's prepared for his encounter with the leprechaun. He's suited up from head to toe.
This wars off spells right here. This is a special leprechaun flute, which has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. And I just came to help out.
Others just came to get lucky in hopes a pot of gold may be buried under this tree.
I'm gonna run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I wanna know where the gold at. I want the gold. Give me the gold. I want the gold.
This is Brian Johnson, NBC 15 News.
Funny. Anyway. Oh, the sketch. Did I already X out? Yeah. You've seen the sketch. Okay, so Nathan Thompson, flat earther extraordinaire, has a new video. Says, breaking news, USA Today fact checks Flat Earth group and says this is true. And he immediately, on the opening here, says, it's about Operation Paperclip. Flat Earthers will use the fact that Operation Paperclip happened. If you don't know, after World War II, once the Cold War started being a thing, the U.S. government started recruiting ex-Nazi scientists in order to develop stuff like NASA, although it wasn't even NASA yet, to develop rocketry and other stuff for the United States government in the Cold War. This is a true thing. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is like a real thing that happened. It's been, what's the word I'm thinking of? Declassified at this point. This is a real thing that happened, and everyone knows about it. This isn't a secret. However, Flat Earthers will use this to be like, NASA's full of Nazis, and they make space up as a fake thing because they're Nazis. So that's where the disconnect with reality is. Yes, Operation Paperclip was a thing. Both Russia and the US recruited Nazi scientists, actually. But, yeah, that doesn't mean NASA's fake. So, let's see what Nathan has to say about this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rock and roll. Apparently last week we were in U.S.
Make sure you knock off Flat Earth if you have it on the card. I don't think I have it. Tiger White 94 with 10 bits. It just shows you how much justice matters when ex-Nazis have skills the U.S. can exploit. True. I read some of the article on it because I knew we were going to do this video. The president basically said, hey, if they're like not every scientist who worked for the Nazis necessarily was like a, an Aryan supremacist piece of shit. There were certain Nazi scientists who, and I'm not absolving them, they worked for the Nazis. At the end of the day, they're a Nazi, period. But the rule from the president was like, if there's someone who was like full in on Nazi ideology and they were like a war criminal POS, then absolutely do not hire them. However, then one of the intelligence agencies whose task it was to recruit these people would, let's say they'd whitewash the history of some of these people. So yeah, I'm sure there were some pretty effed up people in Operation Paperclip working for the U.S. government. Not good. Not good at all.
Today, they did an article titled, Fact Check. Nazi scientists were brought to the U.S. through Operation Paperclip. The claim, after World War II, Nazi scientists joined NASA through Operation Paperclip. Now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Consider liking the video if you enjoy it. I'm going to read through this article, ladies and gentlemen, and point out a few things as we go through. Let's see what they said. There have been many events, both big and small, that have shaped U.S. history. Among them, a Facebook post claims in a secret U.S. program that recruited Nazis. A modified version of the popular meme of Homer Simpson vanishing into a hedge depicts Simpson wearing a swastika on one shoulder and an arm extended.
Darker White 94 with 10 bits. Even the rule wasn't always followed. Werner von Braun, the guy who made the U.S. space program, developed the V-2 rockets that hit Allied cities in Europe. Oh, I know. That's what I was saying. I said earlier in the thing. That was the rule, but they didn't always follow it. I think Werner von Braun even said something to the effect of, like, I regret the things I did to the Nazis in the war, but yeah, it doesn't absolve him. It doesn't absolve him.
In a Nazi salute. World War II ends, reads the text above, which goes on to suggest former Nazi scientists subsequently shifted over to NASA, is illustrated by Simpson re-emerging in a t-shirt emblazoned with the agency's distinctive logo. And
that is a funny meme. I agree.
And a red baseball cap with the American flag. The sentiments within the comments seems largely accepting of the claim. Shout out to everyone in the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion. You guys are so...
So what he's about to say most likely is that, oh, NASA is entirely a Nazi organization because there were Nazis or ex-Nazis who worked for it. Again, I think Operation Paperclip was messed up. I'm not defending the actions. However, if we're trying to make the claim that Nazis controlled NASA and NASA's mission is to fake space because they're Nazis, and I'm not even sure what a Nazi motive for faking space would be, but the number of scientists who were recruited in Operation Paperclip were about 1,600, okay? Operation Paperclip recruited 1,600 scientists who were former Nazi party members into the U.S. to come and work on various projects. The thing is, not all of them were from rocketry, okay? So this 1,600 is overall. Many of them were other sorts of weapons experts, chemical experts, engineers, all sorts of different things. Not all of them were people who worked in rocketry. The original NASA was staffed by, oh boy, I know I looked this up, and I had it pulled up at some point. Let me see if I can find it. How many people worked for NASA originally? The original NASA staff had 8,000 employees. So even if every single Nazi scientist went to go work for NASA, which they weren't, right, not all of these were people who worked in rocketry and space exploration stuff, they'd still be vastly outnumbered by non-Nazi scientists. So the idea that, like, NASA itself was some sort of, like, crypto-Nazi organization is completely unfounded. It's not the case. This is not a Hydra shield situation for those who want to make the comparison. Smitty Werben Janger Man Jensen, thank you for following.
Woke. I love you guys. What was the alternative for them? Asked one, since her Führer liked to shoot people. Art imitates life, wrote another, sharing a gift featuring images from the Marvel movie franchise of an evil Nazi scientist character and a newspaper clipping with the headline, German scientists recruited by U.S.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure some of the stuff that happened in, like, the MCU movie, Winter Soldier, I think that was based on Operation Paperclip. I think that's where they got the idea.
There's nothing funny about the
USA Today awaits
MMO Addicted with 10 bits. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some scientists were not given a choice. Some of our engineers, despite being, quote, subhuman trash, were still forced to work under threat of their families being sent into camps. It was a cruel regime, yeah.
Comment from the Facebook user, who might be me, I don't know, I haven't seen any messages from USA Today, but I did post that meme. who posted the meme in the public group Official Flat Earth and Globe discussion. Now, USA Today, I just want to correct you here. It is the Official Flat Earth and Globe discussion.
Ho ho, made a typo. Got 'em. The Earth is flat. You made a typo, USA Today. Got 'em.
I don't know why anyone would be talking about flat Earth and gloves. But moving on. Operation Paperclip. In 1945, the Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, a subcommittee established by the Joint Intelligence Committee of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was tasked with retrieving German scientists, doctors, and engineers who were identified as intellectually vital to the Third Reich. Journalist Annie Jacobsen states in her 2014 interview that this was prompted by the Allies' concern over Hitler's potential weapons arsenal. Oh, right, gotta justify it, right? Oh, we were scared, right? We had to recruit Nazi scientists who tortured people. Fall of 1940.
Again, I don't want to defend these guys. I agree. I don't think the U.S. should have, like, recruited them. I totally get that, at least if they weren't people who were, like, you know, forced into it or whatever. I understand if someone was, like, forced by the Nazis into doing certain things. I understand that they're not necessarily culpable in the same way someone who volunteers would be. But, like, the implication that every single person in Operation Paperclip was involved in actual, like, torture of other human beings, probably not the case. You can argue that they're, like, morally culpable for being part of the regime, and I would agree with that. But acting like every single person in Operation Paperclip personally was involved in, like, the disgusting human experimentation done by the Nazis, not accurate. And if you're going to try and criticize people, you should at least do so in an accurate fashion.
44, right after the Normandy landings, scattered among the Allies' troops.
Dr. Gamble says, shoot, I need to be more careful. Not sure what that's in regard to. MMO Addicted, what is less excusable is the companies and families which got rich using slave labor and then flipped on the Nazis in the end in exchange for keeping their stuff. Yeah, I agree.
Are these little units of scientific intelligence officers, and they're working to find out Hitler's biological weapons, his chemical weapons, and his atomic weapons, which are a hoax. Nukes are not real, just so you guys know. Well,
wait, Nathan doesn't believe nuclear weapons exist? Nathan, oh boy, bad news. I hate to break it to you. Nuclear weapons exist. It's basically the only reason the Cold War didn't get hot. Why do you think the United States and Russia didn't end up starting a ground war if nuclear weapons don't exist? Like, why would you think that's the case?
Atomic, I gotta research that a little more. There's probably a difference between atomic and nuclear weapons. But nuclear...
Oh god, Nathan is so stupid. No, Nathan, atomic weapons are nuclear weapons. Atomic weapons and nuclear weapons are the same thing. Daddy Sume, wow, that is super confusing. Yeah.
Nuclear weapons are a joke. Said Jacobsen, author of Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program to bring Nazi scientists to America. These intelligence officers eventually discovered while the atomic weapons program was not as advanced as initially feared, Hitler's biochemical weapons were. The hunt...
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. No, I'm referring to streaming software. I'm confused. Ah, okay.
For the scientific treasure and ultimately for the scientists themselves, thus ignited Operation Overcast, renamed Paperclip for the paperclips attached to the files of the most troublesome cases, Jacobsen writes in her books. The U.S. was not alone in this endeavor, right? Got to justify it some more, right? Oh, we didn't do it by ourselves. Britain, France, and especially the Soviet Union.
Again, I'm not defending it, nor am I saying, like, they're defending it, but, like, that's just a historical fact. It bears mentioning, like, hey, by the way, every government was doing this to some extent or another. Doesn't make it better, that's for sure, but it is the case nonetheless, so if you're talking about it, it makes sense to bring it up.
Sought to enlist these German scientific experts, as well as U.S.-Soviet technological rivalry marked by the space race, which was a hoax, space is fake.
No, it's not. Space is real. We are in space. We're just on a planet in space. Fun fact.
And Cold War would also serve as a motivation and justification for Operation Paperclip's existence. By the fall of 1945, German scientists started arriving on U.S. soil. Not all of them men recruited were NASA or SS officers, but the most prominent and valued among them were having either worked directly with Hitler or leading members of the Nazi Party, such as Heinrich Himmler or Hermann Göring.
Pretty sure it's Heinrich Himmler.
Werner von Braun, a rocket engineer, was instrumental in developing the first U.S. ballistic missile, the Redstone, and later the Saturn V rocket. Now, while we're talking about Werner von Braun, let me pull up my speech. NASA founders. Who do we got here? Aleister Crowley, 33rd degree Freemason, founder of the Satanic Temple,
Jack Whiteside Parsons was an unusual man. He founded both the Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the Aerojet Engineering Corporation, created pyrotechnics for the film industry, wrote a book of poems, and masturbated onto magical tablets. That's a sentence I didn't expect to encounter today. In an attempt to conjure a lover. At Wired UK, Olivia Salon intertwines her interview with biographer George Pendle with a look into the rocket engineer's occult-tinted history. While it's arguable if Parsons is the forgotten figure Pendle paints him to be, it's amazing to see how a disciple of the notorious Aleister Crowley contributed to space technology. Okay, so Aleister Crowley was not part of NASA. This guy was, who happened to like Aleister Crowley for some reason. So that's another lie. Good job.
Orientis, black magician, called himself the Beast, 666. And these are all his buddies. Jack Parsons, Crowley's disciple, occultist.
Wait, okay, I didn't look at the other people on this list. His list of NASA founders includes L. Ron Hubbard and Walt Disney. What? Let's look at the actual NASA founders. Dwight D. Eisenhower, obviously. Doon to doon doon to doon doon doon. Creation. From 1946, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics had been experimenting with rockets such as the supersonic Bell X-1. In the early 50s, there was a challenge to launch an artificial satellite for the International Geophysical Year, 1957-58. An effort for this was the American Project Vanguard after the Soviet space program's launch of the world's first artificial satellite, Sputnik, on October 4th, 1957. The attention of the United States turned towards its own fledgling space efforts. The U.S. Congress, alarmed by the perceived threat to national security and technological leadership known as the Sputnik crisis, urged immediately and swift action. President Dwight D. Eisenhower and his advisors counseled more deliberate measures. On January 12, 1958, NACA organized a special committee on space technology headed by Guyver Stever. On January 14, 1958, NACA Director Hugh Dryden published a national research program for space technology. Antipodean Squid with 100 bits. Lying liars who lie and can't do anything but lie about who founded NASA. Yeah, Nathan's a liar. Crowley founded the religion of Thelema, not Satanic Temple. Just saying, because facts. Okay, good to know. And then Stellar Sea Cow. L. Ron Hubbard was friends with Jack Parsons. They were roommates at one point, would do ritual magic together, the masturbating on the tablets thing. And L. Ron Hubbard stole Jack's girlfriend at one point. Oh, God. While this new federal agency would conduct all non-military space activity, the Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPA, was created in February 1958 to develop space technology for American application. On July 29, 1958, Eisenhower signed the National Aeronautics and Space Act establishing NASA. When it began operations on October 1st, 1958, NASA absorbed the 43-year-old NACA intact. Its 8,000 employees, an annual budget of $100 million, 3 major research laboratories, Langley Aeronautical Laboratory, Ames Aeronautical Laboratory, the Lewis Flight Propulsion Laboratory, and 2 small test facilities. Elements of the Armored Ballistic Missile Agency and the United States Naval Research Laboratory were incorporated into NASA. A significant contributor to NASA's entry into the space race with the Soviet Union was the technology from the German rocket program led by Werner von Braun, who is now working for the Army Ballistics Missile Agency, which in turn incorporated the technology of American scientist Robert Goddard's earlier works. Earlier research efforts within the U.S. Air Force and many of ARPA's early space programs were also transferred to NASA. In December 1958, NASA gained control of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, a contractor facility operated by the California Institute of Technology. So yeah, no, Walt Disney and L. Ron Hubbard and Aleister Crowley had nothing to do with the founding of NASA. I missed Daddy Sume's message. Sorry, I'll get to it in a sec. Stellar Sea Cow, read that. Daddy Sume, where was your last one? He's literally quoting SCP. Someone is trolling him with SCP lore. Oh no! Foundation, for those of you who don't know, SCP is a community writing project where SCP stands for Secure, Contain, Protect. It's a imaginary agency that gets a hold of like objects or locations that are supernatural or sci-fi in nature, and then the articles, which are like fan fiction, are basically written as if they're files from the SCP database, if that makes sense. Special containment procedures. Foundation personnel are to liaise with UNUSA and other government, corporate, and academic agencies pursuant to the observation, exploration, and excavation of SCP-4220. Under Protocol Eyes Wide Shut, the following provisions are met. International laws restricting commercial mining, exploration, and colonization of SCP-4220's surface are to be expanded and strictly enforced. Seismological studies of SCP-4220's interior are to be suppressed or falsified. Studies of lunar lava tubes are to be presented to whatever extent is feasible. Oh, it's the moon. Is it the moon? It's the moon.
That's right, capitalistic propaganda.
Thank you to Tanuki Dave for following. SCP-4220 refers to the Earth's moon. Current scientific consensus holds that the moon is the second densest satellite in the solar system, featuring a distinct crust, mantle, and core. This is inaccurate. A Foundation-funded research mission to the lunar surface conducted in 19 redacted determined that the moon is hollow. Despite this, SCP-4220 exerts a gravitational force significantly more powerful than its estimated mass should permit. The lunar regolith has an average depth of approximately 6 kilometers. You get it. It's a fun little like fanficky Men in Black story about, you know, what the moon is like. Addendum 4220.1 Historical Summary. By the 60s, both Americans and Soviets recognized that the knowledge of SCP-4220 posed a threat to normalcy for their respective cultures. However, the nature of the space race meant that neither side could stop their programs to land a man on the moon without incurring significant socio-cultural and political losses. Publicly, both countries competed with non-anomalous technology to achieve this goal. But privately, America and Russian scientists engaged in a secondary clandestine space race, one driven by anomalous assets and paratechnology. This race was conducted to reach the moon in secret, discover its true nature, and determine whether or not it could be weaponized. I love SCP. It's very fun. It is likely that Soviet Union's program inadvertently brought SCP-4220-2's component parts together, and America's program inadvertently provided the materials to catalyze its formation. Addendum 4220.2 Helios. Upon learning of Russia's Luna program for the Soviet defectors, then-President John F. Kennedy, who had previously resisted the urges of anomalies in the space race, reluctantly authorized the Black Project, codenamed Helios. The goal of the Helios program was to determine the nature of the artificial structure of the moon and take control of them before the Soviet Union. Due to Russia's lead in the space race, Kennedy allowed the Pentagram to take control of the project under the direction of late John Whiteside and Jack Parsons. The Inner Circle, Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, and L. Ron Hubbard. Okay. So this is a, SCP, which is a known, fanficky website. It's all for fiction that you write as a community. And he's just repeating, what was said in SCP as if it's a real thing. That's fantastic.
This Black Lodge magician, Satanist, head of Ordal Temple Orientis California Lodge. Oh, and Jack Parsons was also JPL, Jack Parsons Laboratory, which they later changed to Jet Propulsion's Laboratory because you don't want to be associated with occultist, black magic, Satanists.
I would imagine it was always the Jet Propulsion's Laboratory. Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Long story short, Aleister Crowley inseminated the moon goddess, and now his face is etched in the dark side of the moon, mid-orgasm face. I love SCP. It's so stupid.
Ron Hubbard, Crowley's disciple, mass mind controller, black magician, Satanist, founder of the Church of Scientology cult. Werner von Braun, ex-Nazi, director of the German V2 rocket program, recruited under Operation Paperclip. Walt Disney, 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. Revelation 28 through 7. Well, I got to change that. It's not 8 to 7. It's going to be 7 to 8. Satan shall be loosed out of his prison and shall go out to deceive the nations. And Matthew 24:24 says, insomuch that if it were possible, they will deceive the very elect. But God said, you are my...
I got to see. What does this source say it is? I can't even read it. Search YouTube for NASA and Freemasonry. That's not a source, Nathan. That's not how sources work. This one actually has a link, but I can't click on it because it's a YouTube video, so that's not helpful, and I can't read it.
My people, and you will know the truth. So, if it was possible, they would deceive us. But it's not. Sorry, guys. As a Nazi ideologue and member of the SS, he traveled to the Buchenwald concentration camp where he hand-picked slaves to work for him as laborers, said Jacobson in a 2014 interview with NPR. Herbert Strugold, a psychologist and medical researcher, headed the German Air Force Institute of Aviation Medicine, known for its torturous medical experiments on inmates from the Dachau concentration camp. Strugold claimed ignorance of any such activity until after the war, yet he appeared among a list of 95 doctors at an October 1942 conference discussing their findings. In the U.S., he was chief scientist of the Aerospace Medical Division at Brooks Air Force and has been credited as the father of space medicine.
Yeah, it's messed up that the U.S. recruited Nazis. Agreed. Completely 100% agreed. Now, how does this prove that the Earth is flat, Nathan? How does the moral failure of the United States somehow prove that the Earth is flat?
Walter Schreiber, a former Nazi general, also oversaw inhumane medical experiments involving bioweapons that resulted in countless deaths. Following the war, he was captured by Soviets, but defected to the U.S. He worked for various government entities before finally settling in Texas at the Air Force School of Aviation Medicine, Jacobson writes. While Schreiber would later serve as a witness during the Nuremberg trials, he, von Braun, Strugold, and the rest of their Nazis brought to the U.S. would never be held accountable for their own atrocities. Operation Paperclip remained secret throughout much of the Cold War. But thankfully, we have an official Flat Earth and Globe discussion bringing light to these truths.
What? The flat earthers did not uncover Operation Paperclip, Nathan. It was declassified at some point, like in the 90s or something. What are you talking about? It just became public knowledge because it was, like, declassified at some point. What? Flat Earth had nothing to do with this becoming public information, you narcissistic liar. My God.
We rate this claim true because it is supported by our research. Operation Paperclip was a secret initiative launched by the US government to recruit German engineers, doctors, physicists, chemists, and other scientific experts for US technological advancement, especially in anticipation of the Cold War. Many recruited German scientists did work for NASA and various other government entities.
Yes, that's messed up. So why do you think space is fake? Just a question. Like, there were already American scientists who weren't Nazis trying to work on rocketry and exploring, like, the ideas of space, astronomy, stuff like that, right? So why did the United States government recruit Nazi scientists to explore something that is fake, according to you? Like, why would the United States say, hey guys, you know how we know space is fake because we're the government? Wouldn't it be fun to hire Nazi scientists just for funsies, even though space doesn't exist? Like, what would the purpose be, Nathan? What would the actual purpose be if space didn't exist?
They were not held responsible for their war crimes. Oh, guys, and by the way, other government entities, what they mean right there is NASA and the CIA. So, thank you.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it would be the CIA. I don't know. I don't know if any of the people brought over in Operation Paperclip were in, like, military intelligence or just general intelligence. I don't know. I think they were mostly, like, engineers and scientists and stuff.
So much for bringing light to this situation, USA Today. I know you guys have a hard time spelling official flat earth and globe discussion, but
it's a typo, Nathan. You're very hung up. Are you okay?
Hopefully in the next article you write about us, you'll get that correct. So, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Also,
let me see if I can find... Do you have a link to the actual thing? No, you don't. Of course you don't. Lame.
So, I'll see you in the next heavily censored and demonetized video.
I hope it's demonetized. Wing the Ultimate Nug with 10 bits. I figured it out. They created fake NASA to money launder billions of dollars into their pockets. It all makes sense. How do they keep everyone silent? Yeah, but why with Nazis, you know? You could do that without the Nazis. USA Today Flat Earth Fact Check. Bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum bum. Claim after World War II. So this. Was this part of a series they're doing? Like, what's the... Thank you for supporting our journalism. You can subscribe here. Blah, blah, blah. There's all their sources. True. But, like, what's the rest? Is this part of, like, a series they're doing on fact-checking flat earthers? Or what? Fact check. Let me see if I go back to the fact check. Civil rights of 1964 does not create religious-based exemption from mask mandates. Interesting. I wonder why they fact-checked that specifically and not other things. Weird choice. Anyway, that's enough of Nathan. Nathan, yeah, Operation Paperclip was a thing. It was messed up. I agree. The United States government has done countless disgusting things in its history. It doesn't take a whole lot. I'm sure there's an entire Wikipedia article you could go read on, like, atrocities committed by the United States government or, like, questionable moral things. I'm sure that's a thing you can find. You can look at all sorts of really gross stuff. That doesn't mean space is fake. It doesn't. It doesn't mean space is fake. There would be no motive to make people think space is real if it wasn't. And even beyond, like, NASA and the United States government, it would mean every government in the world is doing the same thing. Not just current governments, but every government going back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Just doesn't make a lot of sense. Wing the Ultimate Nug, I figured it out. They created fake NASA. Oh no, already read that one. Colossus TV, thank you for following. So yeah, that's enough of Nathan for today. Silly, silly Nathan. No one has bingo yet? Okay. How about this? Elizabeth April. We're not going to watch this whole video. It's 30 minutes long, and honestly, I've never gotten through a single entire Elizabeth April video because they're just a little meandering. Elizabeth April believes that she is an ambassador to the Galactic Federation, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is a federation of aliens from all over the galaxy, and she believes she has a psychic connection that she is using to talk to them. MMO addicted with 10 bits. I mean, were it not for fear of World War I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. wanted to colonize Europe, subjugate Japan, and aggressively reduce China's exports. Yeah, the U.S. is not great, historically speaking, in terms of its... oh boy. Just Google, like, U.S. eugenics or like, the Tuskegee experiments. Well, not good stuff. Not good stuff at all. But anyway, this video is entitled Jesus Was an Alien. So she's going to talk about how Jesus was an alien, I guess.
Hello again, beautiful beings, and welcome back to Joshua Tree. It's absolutely gorgeous here. It's very hot outside, but it's beautiful, and I'm super excited that I'm back here. And we have a new addition. I don't know if you can hear my dog drinking extremely loudly. But I do have a new addition to the EA tribe and the EA family. And this is actually a Joshua Tree resident and and a gift from my mother-in-law, who this is her property. So check it out. He has a name as well.
Oh,
Look
God.
At this thing. This is awesome. So this is an art installment by a local artist, and it's made out of bottle caps, beer bottle caps.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits. Okay, this cold is beating me down. Heading to bed. Night all. I love you, Hannah. Hope you have a good night, Daddy Sume. Okay. So we've learned some crucial information. First of all, Elizabeth does not own this property. A family member does, and they're letting her stay here, which makes a lot of sense, if I'm being totally honest. And secondly, she has very interesting taste in art pieces,
nothing funny about the
which is also crucial information. Daddy Sume, I chose the perfect time. That alien disturbs me. MMO addicted. Not after this. I am having nightmares.
Nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
His name is Ollie, and my mother-in-law, you know, Natasha's mom, felt like he was a gray. I feel like he's a gray too, almost like a gray child. So we're gonna dress him up and put hats on him and stuff. His name is Ollie, by the way. So just so you guys know. Hi. Yeah. So cute. Awesome. So today we're talking about Jesus. I hope that today's audience is a little bit of, you know, maybe Christian folks and a little bit of maybe non-Christian folks. Abigail, can you not? She's getting all flustered. It's because her other mom's out there. So we're talking about Jesus, and this is a concept that really permeates beyond religion. It really permeates beyond belief. So whether you are religious or not, or believe, you know, even in Jesus, I think that this is a very important video to go through. So I'm going to be talking a lot about different things within Jesus himself. I'm going to be talking about my own personal experiences with Jesus. Believe it or not, I have a bunch. I'm also going to...
Honestly, Elizabeth, I completely believe that you believe you've had experiences personally with Jesus. That's far from the craziest thing that you've said on this channel.
Kind of make some statements, whether you guys want to, whether you guys resonate with the statements or not, that's up to you. But I'm going to make some statements about what I believe Jesus, who he was, really, and really what happened during his lifetime. And then we're going to go into why is this all important? Why is it important in general to talk about Jesus at all? And we're going to talk about Christ consciousness. So actually, it's been a little while since I've spoken to Jesus and brought his energy in, but when I was writing all this information down, I did bring him in because I wanted to ask him about Christ consciousness and how we can all step into that vibration and energy. So he has a little message for all of us as well, right at the end of the video. Before I begin, I just want to mention, if this content is impactful for you or you feel like this has changed your life or helped you for the better, there's so many ways that you can give back, not just monetarily or financially, but just liking this video, sharing this video, especially with the Jesus video. I think it's important that people kind of know who he was, just as a soul. So yeah, and then of course, if you do have the funds, donations, super chats, and even just signing up for the YouTube membership really do support me and give back. So if this stuff resonates with you, those are all great ways to give back. We also have the Galactic Federation recording from yesterday, which was the 11th, and it was so much fun. We went into so many amazing things. We talked about how we can better telepathically connect to our cosmic and star family. We talked about the ascension symptoms and what we should be feeling and what we can do when we're in the ascension as well. We talked a little bit about maybe December 21st. A lot of content is a blur, but it was really powerful.
Is she living in Star Trek? Yeah, she is. She thinks she's like the envoy of the humans to the Galactic Federation, and she thinks she's like half alien. And she thinks she psychically travels into space and has meetings with these people.
One more thing as well is I do have a shift masterclass out there. It took me quite a while to develop this, about a year to put it all together, and it is going to take you from the 3rd dimension frequency into the 5th dimension frequency. And it really, it allows you to be accountable to yourself, but you really do have to show up. So if you are interested in shifting and having a structure to shift, then I highly recommend checking out the shift
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
That's going to be a word salad. I think that breaches the minimum for word salad. MMO addicted with 10 minutes, my mind, it's melted. I'm going to sleep now. I can see the alien head when I close my eyes. Oh god. Wing the Ultimate Doug. What's happening December 21st? I don't know. I don't know what she's referencing there.
Masterclass. You can even sign up for an account, check out all of the material that's a part of the course, and there's no obligation to pay. You can just sign up, create an account, check it out, and then see how you feel later on. So I also want to mention too, I think I know a lot of you know that that I love my pens, right? I love my colored pens, and I do bring them into examples often. And so the other day, I took all of my pens and I switched up the ink cartridge within them, right? And I wanted to do this because I wanted to switch into a new reality. Okay, this is... They're
pens! Talk about Jesus!
No, it's weird, right? Maybe not. So my blue pen was pink, and my purple pen was orange, and my red pen was blue or green or whatever, right? So I did this, and I wanted to do this because I'm so attuned to color, right? I'm like, yes, today I'm feeling blue, and I'll write in blue because that's the vibration that I feel. But I feel like I'm too structured with color. Anywho, so I changed all of my pen inks, right? And then today, I'm like going to use my red pen, which I know is not red. And all of a sudden, there was red ink that came out of it. And I'm like, what? You know, like one of those Mandela effects, like shocked, you know, I'm like, what? And then I'm like, why did this happen? And then I used the blue pen and it's blue ink, right? And I'm like, what's going on? And then I tune into it and I said, why did this Mandela effect happen, right? Why did it switch back to normal? And literally I get this flash, this image, this flash of me like 2 days after switching it all, which I switched it last week, so it hasn't been a long time. And 2 days after, I'm like, man, I really wish it was back to normal. I literally made that statement and then it went back to normal. And then I'm like, ugh,
You probably put them back and don't remember it for some reason. Elizabeth, based on the statements you make and the thing that you believe you go out into space and stuff, I don't think your memory and your understanding of like what you're doing on a day-to-day basis is the most like congruent with reality. It's not the most like in touch with what's really going on. So I say this with all sincerity. You just switched the cartridges back and you don't remember it. It's what happened.
Just got what I asked for, right? But I didn't actually make a physical change in order to switch back to that other timeline. I just thought that was a really cool glitch in the Matrix that I wanted to share with all of you that happened literally as I'm writing down the content of this video. So
she's so stoned too. She does act very, I'm just chill, you know? So yeah, maybe she was just really high and she did it too. GL Norwood, thank you for subscribing.
Okay, so let's deep dive into Jesus. I'm going to start off with my personal connection to Jesus and the experiences that I've had with him and why I have the knowledge that I have at this point in time. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for the super chats. You guys are really incredible and so supportive, so I really appreciate those. Okay, so I first got connected with Jesus back in 2010, and the reason why is because I started astral traveling, remote viewing, getting flashbacks of past lifetimes, and then I started asking questions that I think anyone would ask, especially me in having, in growing up Catholic, right? One of my questions was, who was Jesus? Like, what was really going on back then? Was he actually alive? Was he just a myth? Like, what actually happened? So that was one of the first things that I actually ever explored was Jesus. Who is this guy? And so I went back, I astral traveled back, and I saw him. Like, I literally saw him as a man. So, you know, he does exist and live. And I was just kind of exploring his lifetime and who he was and what he was able to do. So that was one of the first kind of places that I went when I was able to channel in a controlled, conscious way. And we'll talk about some of the information that I received from those channels in a little bit. The second time I channeled Jesus, I wasn't really drawn to him. He's never really been like my number one go-to teacher. I really don't even have an ascended master that's a teacher. I would say I love Buddhism a lot, but I never really tap into Buddha and ask him questions. Like, I feel like I just intrinsically understand Buddhism.
That's the dumbest white person thing I think I've heard all week. I just think I really intrinsically understand Buddhism. I don't even have to, like, look into it to understand what it is. I just know, man. All right. Maybe get off the wacky tobacco for a little bit, okay?
Anyway, so 2010, first time I was introduced to him and kind of observed his life. It wasn't until 2015 when I was doing events in Toronto, and I was doing a workshop, an event with a couple of my other spiritual friends. And
oh yeah, for sure, that's poor understanding of Eastern religion. Where do I have that one? Dang it, I don't have that. But there's a bingo space that's something along the lines of really poor understanding of ancient religion. No, I wouldn't say that's ancient wisdom though. Stellar Sea Cow, she's a white woman in Ashwa Tree. I don't even think she's using the devil's lettuce. I just think this is who she is. I don't even know where that is, so.
Boom, there he was.
We have not had the deep state.
beautiful. Every time he comes into my energy, it's golden light. Like it's like the most intense
Nothing funny about the
golden light energy.
Joshua Tree. I don't know where that is either.
And it's all coming from his heart space. And it's so much profound love, like so much profound unconditional love. I can't even explain the feeling of that
We have not had QAnon.
unconditional love. And
it's in the desert in California.
in 2015, when he came into my energy, I didn't even ask him there, but he just came in and he gave me a gift, and I can still see the gift today. It literally looked like a golden egg, and around the egg was all of this. It almost looked like the golden egg was carved, and there was all of these carvings all around the golden egg. And I knew that the golden egg opened, but he told me not to open it or to open it when I was ready. And now that I think about it, I've never really consciously went back there and explored it, but he gave me this gift, this golden egg gift. And it was definitely like a gift of knowledge. And I'm sure I've opened it subconsciously, you know, and
Okay, I'm tapping out. I'm tapping out of his Jesus and Alien. We haven't even gotten to the part that explains Jesus and Alien, and I can't handle this. It's just so much, like, nonsense. Like, how can she believe this stuff? Elizabeth, please. She has almost 100,000 subscribers, by the way. This is not a really, really tiny channel. So weird. Okay, let's do this. Level Earth Observer.
There's nothing funny about
trying to debunk Simandan or something. Antipodian squid with 100 bits. The fruit on the tree of the knowledge of good was golden eggs confirmed. Yeah, it's like Willy Wonka. I'm so close to enlightenment. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. I'm good. Yes, it was word salad. So this is someone trying to debunk a debunk by Simandan.
Pantomime boy as far as defending the absurdity of living on a ball flying through a vacuum. And today we're going to get to see Dan get all scientific for us as he attempts to debunk my Start Point Lighthouse video. I'm not going to bore you going through the video. I'm just going to play Dan's conclusion and highlight the absurdity of his method of debunk.
I'm assuming you're not going to play Simandan's video because typically when you debunk someone, not all the time, but often when you debunk someone, he'll show his work and explain exactly why the thing that they're saying is untrue. And you don't want to show that because it does so instead you're just going to show the conclusion. Kind of dishonest, but okay.
It then gets worse for Dan as we get to see the pinned comment, which obviously Dan now is citing as evidence, which is laughable. I'll leave both videos in the description, both my observation of Start Point Lighthouse, which is a cracking observation, and the full video to Dan's so-called debunk, which is laughable. So let's just hear what Dan's conclusion is. I should add, it would seem Dan's Patreons actually stitched him up by voting this video for him to debunk. Nice one, guys. So let's have a listen to Dan's conclusion and let's just highlight the absurdity of Simandan and the globe.
So that begs the question, what exactly are you looking at? Well, honestly, I don't know. However, if we take refraction into account, which is absolutely a thing, then there is certainly much less than the 1,000 feet hidden which you believe there should be. If anyone is actually from this area, it's a little bit too far away from me, and they do know what level Earth Observer is actually looking at, then please do let me know. Well, there we go, not the conclusive ending I was hoping for, but we did learn something, that level Earth Observer was not looking at Start Point Lighthouse.
How did you work that out when only 60 seconds ago you just said we don't know what Level Earth Observer was looking at.
I think I watched the Cyman Dan video. He pulled up a map and basically showed that, yeah, what he's looking at probably wasn't the lighthouse that he claims it was, but he's not sure what it is. You can be pretty sure and, what's the word I'm looking for? You can rule out the fact that you were looking at a certain thing without knowing what you are actually looking at. That's a possibility.
But now you're sure it's not Start Point Lighthouse. That's not very scientific, Danny boy, is it? If anything, that's incredibly unscientific, but I shouldn't expect...
Did he claim it was scientific? He's just making an observation. He's saying, hey, and again, I saw this video, but it was on in the background, and I wasn't really looking at the screen, so I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what's going on in this. But, like, from what I saw, he looked at a map and basically said, like, hey, this doesn't look like you're actually looking at the lighthouse. It looks like you're looking at something else. But he doesn't know what you are looking at. So you're looking at something, but he doesn't know exactly what. That doesn't mean, like, he's making a scientific claim. He's making an observation, like, hey, I don't think what you're looking at is what you think it is. And that's fine. That's fine.
Any more from you, as you've still yet to provide one...
The thing he looked at didn't look like a white lighthouse at all. We can look at it after this video.
Single practical demonstration backing the absurd globe belief. Hang on a minute. What's going on with that plug socket next to the globe? Dan, you've got a plug orbiting a cartoon in your bedroom.
That would be a wall thing, because it's his wall. Is that a gotcha? You got a light switch or something over here? That's pretty bad.
Have a word. Now, if this wasn't bad enough for Dan, the fact his Patreons have stitched him up, he couldn't debunk the video. He didn't know what it was, but he's certain he knows it wasn't the lighthouse. Right, gotcha. Even though the video itself is solid and is backed by demonstrable reality, i.e. the water.
Water is the demonstrable reality.
But if that's not bad enough, Dan's pinned comment, which now he thinks is what I was seeing in my observation. Bear with me, let's have a look. Right, let's get to the pinned comment. Yeah, dear. These people make me laugh. Where is it? Oh, here we are. I've solved it for you, Dan. Essentially, this is my observation here on the right, which is circled. The land you can see coming down from right to left. You can see the sort of squidgy, compressed sort of lighthouse, chunky. Bearing in mind it's 46 miles away. But Dan seems to think, or his subscriber, and Dan is obviously...
Let's take a look.
Last week, Ranty was featured in a Flat Earth Fail compilation where he yet again proved the globe.
Let's look at the pin comment. Load full resolution, yes please. There we go. Okay, so we have someone claiming that it is a something on a cruise ship of some a cruise ship or some kind of ship, particularly this section, lighthouse position in video. It's all the way out here. What our intrepid flat earther thought was the lighthouse was in fact the cruise liner Exmouth, about 16 to 20 miles, nowhere near the 46 miles claimed. And then we have this in the video, which, yeah, the shape of that matches. Like, exactly. It's probably a little hard for you guys to see. Let me see if I can zoom in more. You guys see that? Yeah, that matches exactly. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can. Yeah, that's what it is. That's pretty funny.
I think it's fair to say he didn't take it too well.
Poor old Ranty. If you're Earth observer, use Surfshark to encrypt your personal information and send it via a secure VPN tunnel so that no one can see it for 3 months extra free.
From 46 miles away.
46 miles from sea level to sea level. Already I can tell this is going to be hogwash.
That building is Start Point Lighthouse, which is the lighthouse on the screen at the moment. Big.
Okay, this is what the lighthouse looks like. For everyone's point of reference, this is what the lighthouse looks like. It looks like your typical lighthouse.
Chunky lighthouse in Devon. We're going to look at basically some footage of mine shot from Lyme Regis in the Cobb. Catching Start Point Lighthouse, an amazing 46 miles away.
Okay, I'm going to skip ahead now
We're
to the actual footage.
Over a body of water. So it's not 6 miles away. Low level.
Okay, so that's very blurry and it's hard to see. You can see this right here.
From sea level to sea.
It does not look like the lighthouse.
Sea level. Over a body of water. So it's not going to be crystal clear, which is why we're going to use cross-referencing on Google to help us identify. But the lay of the land is very revealing. And this chunky lighthouse that sticks out is very revealing.
But it's not the lighthouse. The lighthouse is like, you know, it's like a tower and then it's got a smaller thing on top. This doesn't have the smaller thing on top. It looks like, again, the cruise ship thing that someone posted that goes through the waters that you're literally looking at.
What?
Leave a link in the description. A little bit clearer, but I don't zoom in all the way.
Of course, there are no links in the description.
And you're going to see. I actually think it flashed then, didn't it? Did I actually see that flash? I don't think I've ever noticed that before. Let me just come back.
I didn't see it, but let's check, shall we?
I might be wrong.
No.
Let's see how wrong you are.
I want to show my viewing angle in relation to the viewing angle. Now, to give you some idea, line of sight, and who's kindly 4 miles in angles, which will be from 4. Might have got the radio towers as well.
So you get it. It's not the lighthouse. That's funny, though. Let me see if he does have the shot in the... Wait, why did they just end up on... Why did we end up on the Sid Roth channel? Let me see if we can find the lighthouse video, the earlier one. Where was it from? Where was it from? Here it is. He said there'd be links of clear stuff in the description. And they are not there. Cool. Good job. What's this one? Here's another one. NASA or Flat Earth, FFS, NASA, turn off the lights.
Just a quick one today. I don't know if anyone's ever pointed this out about the landing site in relation to the moon phases. Just in case they haven't, I'm going to point it out. July the 20th, 1969, supposedly man's greatest achievement.
I mean, that's going to be subjective, but it's up there. I mean, landing on the moon is pretty cool. I don't know.
This is their landing site on the moon. Just take note of the marks on the moon. I call it the moon's birthmarks. You've got a single one far right, and then you've almost got like 3 on top of each other.
And they're called craters. They're big craters on the moon.
Going from right to left, leaning from right to left as they go up. And the landing site is at the back, sort of central area on the left there, just here. Okay, just take note of that. Now here's the moon's phase for July the 20th, 1969. Okay, I'm going to come to a close-up of it.
He doesn't claim to be an expert, so I don't know if that counts. Like, he's not like an expert in some other field commenting on something that isn't his field. He's just not an expert.
Here. Now this is the moon landing site again, close up. Look at the birthmarks. And we'll go back to the moon's phase that day. It would seem, according to the moon's phase, for the day that man supposedly walked on the moon, they should be in absolute darkness because they're in
They brought lights. They brought lights to the moon. I don't know if you know that.
the darkness, in the shadow of the moon.
But also, I don't know exactly where they landed, so I can't tell you.
But when we see the footage of the craft coming in and photographs on the moon, it looks incredibly bright. So let's just go back. There's the moon, landing site.
Moon landing site, where on the moon did they land? Apollo 11, right there. And then we have moon landing date, July 20th, 69. Moon phase calendar, 1969. We went to the moon in 1969. July 20th. So it's here. Oh, we're using the same website. Cool. Can I get a bigger image of that? That would be great. Waxing crescent illumination 30%. 1969, no, 1970. Let's see if there's another one with a different photo. No, it's the same one. That's annoying. My research said not by a researcher. Did he say my research literally? Let's see, we're down here, down here. I don't think so. I think down here is the moon landing site, or maybe it's right here. I'm not sure. Either way, like, there were lights, we know, because we have footage of it. So it was illuminated. And again, I repeat, as I've said in many other things, if NASA was going to fake a moon landing, they would account for things like this. Wing the Ultimate Nug with 10 bits. Did you think NASA wouldn't plan to bring a flashlight or would have the ability to leave them at home? Yeah, stupid.
The moon's phase for the day Neil and Buzz supposedly landed. And of course, we'll zoom in, close up. Just take note. And back again. And once more. The landing site, once more.
Right, but like if they're right here, that doesn't necessarily mean because this image shows a very defined place where the shadow starts. Shadows don't necessarily work like that, right? And it's very dependent. It depends on if you're in the actual like shadow or if you're in the, what's the word for it? Is it penumbra? I'm not sure. There's like, you know, edges of a shadow that aren't quite solid. And also if there's illumination right here next to where they are, the moon reflects light. It's like a big thing that it does. It's why we can see the moon at night, because it's reflecting a ton of light from the sun. So even if like light isn't directly shining right here, which is where, again, the Apollo lander landed, it would still be illuminated by being so close to other parts of the surface that are. The moon reflects a ton of light.
The landing site would have been in pure darkness, okay? According to the moon's phase. So why? Bear with me. Why is it when we see footage like this of them coming into land is super bright.
Let me see. Were there lights on the Apollo 11 mission? I can't find anything about lights being brought or not on the Apollo mission. Sorry.
Why? How is that possible? And how is it possible to have pictures like this? Same day, July the 20th, 1969, NASA's website. Look how bright it is. It's as bright as a town centre on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And yet it's supposed to be in the shadow of the moon, according to the moon's phase, in relation to the moon landing site. It's obvious it's just...
Again, you're basing this off a blurry image on one site talking about the phases of the moon, which isn't going to be 100% accurate. And secondly, the surface of the moon reflects a ton of light. So even if they were on a section that was, like, not illuminated, it doesn't mean it's entirely dark because there's still light from other parts of the moon that are reflecting a ton of sunlight.
It's nonsense anyway, but I just thought I'd highlight that. I don't know if anyone else ever has.
I also imagine it probably looked a lot darker than it looks in the footage. They probably had their luminance settings on the cameras up. I don't know, though.
I mean, if you want my real opinion and breakdown of the moon landing, check out the Retro Moon pantomime video I did. I'll leave it in the description. That's really what I really think of the moon landing. Watch that, you'll know what I truly feel about the moon landings.
We know how you feel about the moon landing. Okay, let's do something else. Neil suffered hyperoxygenation and hallucinated cosmonauts. Buzz helped him back to the lander to fix his O2 mix.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Antipodian Squid with 10 bits. You heard it here first, pals. We had the tech to go to the moon, but not the tech to have lights on the tech we used to get there, or tech to video it. Yeah. Someone's channel got deleted. Whoopsie. God, Conspiracy Castle's a Trump supporter. Of course he is. Am I done? I don't want to be done.
There's
no one got
funny about the
bingo.
tools of capitalism.
Webmaster7765. I can't believe that no BS video from the other day is still up. Which one? Oh, the one about Borat? Yeah. Okay, we'll probably do a Jilly Juice video and then I'm probably going to be done. Breeding communism into the population through individualism, which seems like a bit of a contradiction, but I'm sure Jillian will explain herself very well.
All right, so I gotta talk about this because I'm thinking, like, how am I gonna write about cloning, doppelgangers, breeding diversity into the population.
Ugh.
How am I going to start this out? And then remember everything from the micro level to the macro level. And it's right there in plain sight. Yet again.
Mitchell Drummer says, hey chat, got a question. Is it moral for me to destroy, vandalize an All Lives Matter sign in the street? I mean, moral or legal? I can't say anything about this. I'm a Twitch streamer. I would not recommend you break the law. How about that? That's my recommendation.
Again, but you have to understand the verbiage and the words to understand the intentions. And so yes, biotech are a bunch of jargon-oriented university students who have been compartmentalized.
Jargon-oriented. Uh-oh, people know words I don't know. It must be a conspiracy.
To go and fulfill an agenda, which is to collect and then create or convert antibodies into monoclonal antibodies and then breed communism, when you think about it, into the population. Because what are you breeding? You're breeding the same DNA, and those that cannot take to the DNA will be bred out of the population. They'll
What does she think communism means?
Be basically reproduced out of the population. They'll be upgraded out of the population, and those that take to these vaccinations and these antibodies and these monoclonal antibodies will then be the similar people with similar characteristics, similar thought processes, similar predispositions, similar personality types. Not the same, but they'll be able to withstand the environment. And so, like anything, the more that you resist, the more it will persist you out of existence.
What?
See, that's the secret of adapting to any environment, is you're not resisting the environment, you're adapting to it.
By the way, if you have population control as a motive on your bingo cards, knock that one off.
When you adapt to environment, you prolong your life. When you resist an environment, you actually shorten your life because you don't have what it takes to be able to adapt and assimilate and be a productive, contributing member to society. So monoclonal antibodies. So how I'm going to start this one section that I'm thinking like how I'm going to start it is that yes, when you breed and create a society, a planned society, it starts at the micro level. It starts at the monoclonal antibody level. Why monoclonal antibodies? Because those are actually packets of DNA. They're antibodies, which are basically packets of DNA that are excess junk DNA that the body's releasing. Yes, you have junk DNA in your body, mind, and spirit, but you also are releasing excess DNA that the body cannot use. That is excess. So it's still part of your, it's still basically a blueprint.
Des Viper says, no, they're not. Yeah.
Of you. Your antibodies are a blueprint of you.
Funny about the tools of capitalism.
Webster 7765, this woman is speaking gibberish. It's kind of her thing, yeah.
And if you want to create clones, you take a blueprint, take your DNA, a blueprint of you, and then you go and take that, extract that, and then go create something in a lab to where then you can go and try to alter other people's DNA with that data, with that blueprint. No different than when everyone takes the same class. They want everybody on the same page, so you take English, math, social studies, science. You learn all the same stuff in a...
You learn accurate stuff. Yeah. Do you want people learning different math that doesn't match with each other? That would make math useless. What? Math is describing, like, how things work. Math is a language of describing reality. How would you teach people different math? If you taught different math, it would just not be math. What? Antipodian Squid. Weirdly, this explains really well how she believes that vaccines alter people's DNA.
In a very indoctrinated form, because it's all indoctrination, right? And that's how you get everybody on the same page. And those that resist the indoctrination, those that resist the data, are the ones that are not going to be able to adapt to the new society, because there's going to be very specific rules, specific expectations, contingencies that you're going to have to figure out how to assimilate to. And if you can't assimilate to it, you will be upgraded and reproduced and destroyed out of existence because of the fact that you cannot assimilate to the new environment. And so instead of just destroying you at the macro level, which is like what they did back in World War II, now it's at the micro level. It's taking monoclonal antibodies from so many different people and creating a specific intention with these antibodies and then inject the population, and those that can take to the programming will survive and be a productive member of society. Those that cannot take to the programming will be out of existence. And so that's how you breed diversity in the population. That's how you breed communism into the population.
What? What does this have to do with communism?
Because obviously those that don't agree at the biochemical level with the environment, they're not going to survive. They'll die. You already see it in your friends and family that cannot survive the environment. You watch some people are in a disintegration process, and their body is disintegrating before your very eyes. Their minds are disintegrating before your very eyes. Their spirit is disintegrating before your very eyes. And so you see it. Some people cannot take to the programming of the environment. Like, this virus is actually...
Are you talking about people aging? Jillian, if you're talking about, like, your parents that are aging and are maybe dealing with some cognitive decline due to that age, that's not due to some, like, insidious environmental programming nonsense. That's just because people get old and their faculties fail them as they get older. It's sad, I agree, but it's not a conspiracy. That's just life.
Causing people's disintegration process to be even more accelerated. And people like me, people on the Jilly Juice, are taking to this virus and these upgrades and enhancing and amplifying our DNA. And then anything that our body doesn't think is appropriate as far as any DNA monoclonal antibody, whether it's in a vaccine or in the environment, our bodies will release it, and it becomes part of the microbiome. And either it's in the sewer system being then recycled back into the universe again, or someone else will pick it up and try to adapt to it. And that's what they call communicability. That's what they call infection or infectious. That's what they call, just data transfers. There's direct data transfers and indirect data transfers. And that's like when you're around a person and you're giving off your antibodies or giving off data, in communication. Those are indirect. And then there's direct transfers where you take a class, or you get injected, or you have sex with someone and you get basically injected with their DNA in some way, shape, or form, right? So there's so many different ways you can get the data of the environment into your body and figure out whether or not you will adapt or resist it.
Having sex with someone doesn't alter your DNA. What are you talking about? No.
Okay,
and taking a class or something doesn't alter your DNA. What are you talking about?
Body's resisting so much, it won't be able to live because
the sexually transmitted communism STCs. Webster 7765, the data of the environment into your body.
You should have a certain amount of resistance to certain things, and then have a certain amount of adaptation to other things. You should have more adaptation than resistance. If you are resisting so much, guess what? That means you have too much poison in the environment. When you're in a gas chamber or getting carbon monoxide poisoning, your body's resisting so much, it's making all these antibodies, and those antibodies are going to attack you at the micro level. They're going to destroy.
What? If you're having carbon monoxide poisoning, that's not antibodies. That's your body being deprived of oxygen. What do you think carbon monoxide poisoning is?
There's nothing
what?
funny about the tools.
No! 74 Quinn 74, I only know about her bunk medical stuff from the podcast Sawbones. I didn't know she thought all this. Yeah, she's out there. Feels like you're trying to listen to a 2-year-old explain science. Yeah. Antipodian squid giving off data like a mushroom spreading its spores, puff into the universe and float away on the wind until it lands on unsuspecting capitalists to infect them with the communism.
Your vital organs because you can't possibly adapt because you're resisting so much. Resistance is futile. That's what they say. Resistance is futile.
Oh, Jillian's seen Star Trek. That's good. That's nice.
So that makes sense. Like, I'm watching people on my Facebook with the mask thing, with the social distancing, with the vaccinations and all that, and they're just resisting. They're not really doing Jilly Juice, and if they are, it's very minimal. And so they're actually resisting more than they're adapting, and guess what? They won't have the energy to actually heal because they're putting their energy into the resistance. It's like you only have so much amount of energy that you can actually dole out. You can't spread yourself that thin. If you spread yourself too thin, guess what? You will not meet any objective that you want. You'll have a misalignment in the way you speak and what you say to whatever your actions are and the outcome. So that's why not everyone's going to survive Julie Juice, because they haven't figured out that resistance is futile. You have to adapt to your environment. And Julie Juice will help you adapt, but you have to face your evolution. You have to face the pain, face all the different demons. And
the main demon I'm concerned about is diarrhea. Jilly Juice, which she sells the recipe to and stuff, gives you massive diarrhea. That's the only demon you'll be facing if you try and start Jilly Juice.
And sometimes you have to put boundaries down where you can. You put too many boundaries down, then there's no life getting to you. And then you'll dissolve that way. Just like, you know, when you put somebody in a white room, devoid of air, devoid of social interaction, devoid of everything, they have so many boundaries that they can't survive. So again, it's all about balance. Balancing your adaptation and your resistance. Too much resistance, you'll die, you know, and too little resistance, you'll die. Because you don't have enough boundaries. Or you'll have so many boundaries that you can't even penetrate their brainwashing, and so you can't get Jilly Juice into their world because they're so resisting anything new that they'll die anyways. And that's what you're seeing out there, people that are resisting Jilly Juice. They're resisting so much that they're not allowing the life protocols penetrate their death disintegration programming, their self-destruct programming. And so that's why you don't waste your time. You get the information out there, you give people enough information for them to do their own research. I've made it easy with my book, and I make it even easier with my next book. And then you walk away and you let them come to you and say, hey, yeah, let's align, but I don't want to cannibalize your spirit or your body or your mind. I just want to know that there's somebody else out there with the same thought process that I can kind of just bounce off lightly what my...
Stone Corbell with 20 bits. I kind of envy her ability to rattle off continuous streams of complete nonsense off the cuff like this. I could use such BSing skills. True.
Feelings are, what I'm thinking, just to make sure that I know I'm going down the right road, even in my own body, mind, and spirit. It may not be the same as somebody else's, but at least you know there's other people out there that are going through the same thing you're going through, even though it's not exactly the same thing. Okay? And so, you know, so that's how you treat Jilly Juice, but you never try to ram something, because their resistance is going to bring up more antibodies. The more you try to ram something like Jilly Juice into a person that is so resistant to anything, it's going to cause them more death, because they're going to now put up their walls and their antibodies and everything else, and it will never penetrate. So you don't want to, you know, make people resist you even more, so you just walk away. If someone resists you already, then walk away. Don't even bother, because you don't want to add more antibodies or more resistance to their already, you know, tunnel vision of life, or what they deem as life, which is really a disintegration process. So yeah, so yes, there is a way to breed communism into the population, but you can breed communism in a life way into the population, as well as a death way as well. But too much death will then completely, you know, defeat the purpose. But learn the balance between adaptation and resistance. Oh God, I gotta write this down. Adaptation and resistance.
Yeah, that's good enough to write down, Jillian. I'm sure that's a brilliant thought that people will need preserved in the future.
Adaptation and resistance is a balance. Again, resistance is like antibodies. Too much antibody.
74 Quinn 74. Wow, Jilly Juice doesn't work because you don't believe in it. Who would have guessed?
Destroys you. Too much resistance, it will destroy you. That's why resistance is futile. It's all about adaptation. And if you have some kind of resistance, it should be released almost immediately, so that way you have the ability to adapt. Adapt to new information, adapt to your environment, which is new information, adapt to new people, which is new information, adapt to almost any change in your environment that's not too extreme, that's going to cause more resistance. Like again, when you're in a enclosed room with the engine running, the resistance is going to be your antibodies, and that will destroy you.
No! What? You'll get carbon monoxide poisoning, which is not your antibodies. Like your like red blood cells or something. And again, I'm not like super familiar with this, though I did have to go to the hospital for it once as a kid because our furnace broke and it just started spewing like carbon monoxide or dioxide, I'm not sure, into like the house, and I got really, really sick, and they had to take me to the hospital and put me up to oxygen. Basically what happens is this thing, instead of oxygen binding onto your like blood cells, this other thing does, and it prevents the oxygenation of your cells, and it kills you. That's not your antibodies. All this communism talk reminds me of this. Is this going to be the Tim Curry communism in space clip?
You know, I think the rain is actually a lot like communism. When you think about it, at first it sounds really nice, but once you actually get out into it, it is even better!
So you don't want to have too much resistance, you don't want to have enough resistance, you want to have enough boundaries. So adaptation, resistance, and boundaries. And boundaries. So that way you're not being cannibalized or possessed by someone else because your resistance is low and your adaptation is low, and so then you're allowed someone else to invade your body, mind, and spirit. And so you have to have a balance of all of that. And the only way you're able to really do that effectively is if you chemically align your body, mind, and spirit with the right protocol, which is J-Juice, because there's nothing else. There really is nothing else. I can't express it enough that there is nothing else in the world that's going to help you align your body, mind, and spirit on a potential indefinite basis when it comes to the microbiome and your biochemistry and the elements other than Jilly Juice. Jilly Juice is the only freaking way.
Again, for reference, Jilly Juice is fermented salty cabbage water that she sells as like a panacea, like a cure-all snake oil BS thing.
Telling you, they've already tried to figure out all the different antibiotics through the elements and through different biochemical signaling, transcription, termination. They're already messing with their genome, messing with your microbiome, messing with your environment, trying to manually, synthetically align you. But then it's always a chain reaction, a domino effect. You mess with this, it's going to mess with something else, mess with something else, and all of a sudden you're on a string of drugs and a string of protocols, and then you're being reproduced out of existence because nobody has figured out balance. And you can't tell a person who's imbalanced that they're imbalanced unless they actually figure out they're imbalanced, and then they want to have some balance, and they want to see what it's like, and they have to understand pain, understand DNA and RNA, and some people are too far gone. I know people in my world that I could not introduce this. It would go right over their head. And I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm saying that they have not been bred to take on new information. They've been bred to only be a certain type of slave. Only be a certain type of slave. And there's different levels of that. There's people that understand my information, but they don't want to change because it's just too much work. Other people would not get this. Would not get this. And you know it because you can see it. You know people that are like that. I'm not even going to say a type of people because I don't want to have anyone come after me and be like, you're such a jackass, Jillian. But I know specific people.
Maybe don't say potentially racist stuff then, Jillian. That'd be great. Implying that some people are predisposed to being slaves comes off pretty racist.
That they are bred to only do what they are told to do, and that's it. You can call them the military types, but even military types have intellect. Not all military types are just like all about following directions. But there are people that are not part of the military, not part of any kind of organized type of formalized institution, because even then they couldn't even really, get through high school. But you know who they are. You've met them. You probably found them weird. And there's also so much cancer, disease, and chronic illness in that family as well. And so there's no way you can get something like Jilly Juice across to them at this level, at this juncture. So yes, this virus and what Dr. Fauci and what Bill Gates is doing is taking away those that are just, that don't have a lot of cognitive ability to be able to process, complicated concepts.
Or, how about this? It's a virus, and you should take it seriously, and that's all it is. It's not some conspiracy. It's literally just a virus.
But they also...
that can kill you.
...are, getting rid of those that are so.
It would almost certainly kill Jillian because she's constantly dehydrated from the massive amounts of diarrhea she gives herself with the fermented salty cabbage water.
Indoctrinated that they can't even question what it is that they're doing. There's got to be a balance because you got to have some kind of.
Jilly Juice is a fake medicine that she invented, and it's basically salty cabbage water that's been fermented. It's disgusting, and it gives people massive amounts of diarrhea. It has given at least one person a stroke from the severe dehydration. They've been on Dr. Phil. It is bad.
Innovation in the population. You can't have all people who are just following directions and that's it without questioning. There has to be a balance, so that way they can innovate and make things better. Because even if with the Jilly Juice, then it's how do you make music better? How do you make cooking better? How do you make the environment better? You still need more innovation to make things better. Okay? But there's people out there that are not contributing to the innovation of our society. But we still do need a workforce that's willing to just follow directions and just be bred to just do hard labor and that's it. But
why? No.
Then if they're not having some kind of individual thought process or feel like that they own themselves, then they won't take to the programming either. So there's such a delicate balance to making sure that we have a workforce, we have an innovator force, we have a leadership force, a follower force, an infrastructure force, academic force to teach those that they're willing, if they guide reproduction carefully, how do you teach the new people the right way so they don't go outside the lines of life and cause death in the population. So it really is, when you are developing a planned community, there's so much you have to think about. And believe me, they've had centuries to study us. But you have to see it on a more of on a superficial level. Even though I'm not getting into the way deep stuff, because there's probably more deeper stuff than I'm talking about, but at least you kind of see that how diversity and how communism and how thought processes and how things are brought to the surface and developed and converted and created. And so that way, if you have a superficial level of understanding of that, then there's a deeper portion of it. What that is, I don't know. All I know is what I've been taught, and I don't do a lot of drugs, so I don't have that spiritual
Not no drugs, though. Interesting.
Side of it. And so it's like, I'm just adapting to my environment. Okay? That's all I'm doing is adapting to my environment. And if there is a new thing in the environment, I'll adapt to that. All right? So I'm just kind of giving you the cliff notes on how to adapt and survive this next purge. Because we are dealing with a purge. Will you be able to survive it and adapt to it? Or are you going to resist it so much you will reproduce yourself out of existence? You will resist yourself out of existence. All right. Talk at you later. Bye.
Oh, Jillian. Oh, Jillian. That's a shame. Just all of it. So that's it. Let me see who I can raid. Oh, I gotta give someone... No one got a bingo, so I gotta give someone randomly a sub. So let me, just to be clear, no one got it. No one got a bingo? That's a shame. We had a lot of stuff going on today. What a bummer. Let's see who gets the sub.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Joker Moo, you have been gifted the sub. So there you go. Woot. So that's going to be it for Tinfoil Tuesday. Let's see who I can raid. The Surfs. Playing Phasm. Lumi's playing Undertale. Liv posting is just chatting. Is there someone else that I haven't done before? Yeah, sure. Let's do Lumi. So thank you everyone for coming to the stream. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. We'll be back tomorrow for another stream around 4:30 maybe. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be covering, but I'm sure it'll be something interesting. Maybe we'll do Chud Watch because we didn't do Chud Watch Monday, so maybe it'll just be Wednesday this week. I don't know. Either way, I will be back tomorrow for that, so have a wonderful evening. Forgot to hit the OK button on that. I hope you have, a good time at Lumi's stream. See y'all later. You're all wunderbar. Night, everyone.
Give it to me. I want it.